Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation. Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change. A book by Isaac Christopher Lubogo. Dedication, written by Isaac Christopher Lubogo. To President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. In the boundless panorama of human history, your presidency has emerged as a profound testament to the philosophical forces of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation. It is with great reverence and philosophical contemplation that we dedicate this book to your visionary leadership, a leadership that transcends the temporal confines of politics and embarks upon a journey into the very essence of transformative human endeavor. Your inauguration marked not a mere change of guards, but a philosophical revolution, an awakening of the human spirit to the possibilities of profound change. In your proclamation, you invoke the timeless truth that leadership is not bound by the chains of convention, but is the agency through which nations redefine their destinies. Fundamental change, as you have championed, is the acknowledgement that the canvas of history is not preordained, but is shaped by leaders who dare to envision new horizons. It is the recognition that governance is not a passive act, but a philosophical discourse. A dialogue between the leaders and citizens, between ideas and realities, and between the past and the future. Your journey into the heart of Yowerinomics has challenged us to consider the very fabric of governance and prosperity. It beckons us to reimagine the intricate dance between the state and its citizens, a dance where empowerment and socio-economic progress intertwines in a harmonious cadence. Tibuhaburwarism embodies the resilient spirit of a nation, a spirit that perseveres against adversity, transcending the confines of circumstances. Your leadership, President Museveni, has exemplified this resilience, navigating the tumultuous waters of history with unwavering determination. And Museveninomical Dispensation unveils the transformative power of leadership on culture, ethics, and identity. Your emphasis on patriotism, cultural preservation, and values-based education reflects a profound desire to shape Uganda's cultural landscape. It is a testament to the recognition that leaders mold not only policies but also the ethos of societies. As we dedicate this book to your leadership, we recognize that it is a dedication to the enduring potential of the human spirit, a spirit that strives for transformation, resilience, and the shaping of values. Your legacy is a beacon of hope, a testament to the audacity of visionary leadership and embodiment of the internal quest for a brighter tomorrow. May the philosophical exploration through this book inspire leaders, thinkers, and visionaries to engage in the profound discourse of transformation, resilience, and the shaping of values. In the pursuit of fundamental change, may we all find the wisdom to navigate the complex labyrinth of governance and the courage to transcend the limitations of the present. With the deepest philosophical respect and admiration, this dedication was written by Isaac Christopher Lubogo. Reviewed by concerned citizens of Uganda. In our capacity as avid readers and citizens deeply invested in the unfolding narrative of Uganda's journey, we collectively had the privilege of immersing ourselves in the pages of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change. This book, which delves in the philosophical underpinnings of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's leadership, has left us with a profound sense of introspection and admiration. From the moment we opened its pages, we are transported into the realm where politics transcends the mundane and enters the domain of philosophical contemplation. The dedication itself, which serves as a philosophical treatise, sets the stage for what lays ahead. A journey through the intricate interplay of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation. The book's exploration of Yowerinomics challenges us to reevaluate the dynamics of governance and prosperity. It beckons us to envision a world where leadership and citizens engage in the intricate dance of socio-economical empowerment. This concept left us pondering the role of leadership not just as a pragmatic endeavor, but as a philosophical discourse where ideas and realities converge. Tibuhaburwarism emerges as a beacon of resilience, a quality inherent in both individuals and nations. The book's exploration of President Yoweri Museveni's resilience in the face of adversity, particularly during Uganda's turbulent history, is a statement of the indomitable human spirit. It made us reflect on the tenacity required to navigate the complexities of leadership and the pursuit of progress. Museveninomical Dispensation unveils the transformative power of leadership on culture, ethics, and identity. The emphasis on patriotism and culture preservation was thought-provoking. It prompted us to consider the delicate balance between preserving cultural heritage and embracing cultural diversity, a theme of utmost reverence in our globalized world. What struck us most profoundly was the dedication of President Museveni, which serves as a philosophical declaration of the enduring potential of visionary leadership. It echoed the beliefs that leadership can shape the destiny of nations, redefine their moral compass, and reshape their identity. It was a dedication that transcended the pages of a book and resonated with the internal quest for a brighter tomorrow. In conclusion, Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation is not just a book. It's a philosophical voyage that transcends the boundaries of time, culture, and place. It invites readers to contemplate the essence of leadership, societal evolution, and the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow. It is a book that challenges us to engage in the profound discourse of transformation, resilience, and values, a discourse that extends far beyond Uganda's borders and echoes in the hearts of all who dare dream of fundamental change. As concerned citizens of Uganda, we wholeheartedly recommend this book to anyone who seeks a deeper understanding of leadership, politics, and the enduring pursuit of a brighter future. It is a literary gem that has enriched our collective perspective and left us with a profound sense of appreciation for the philosophical dimension of leadership and change. In our democratic spirit, we echo the Latin phrase Salus Populi Suprema Lesesto. The welfare of the people is the supreme law, and firmly believe that Vos Populi Voice Dei, the voice of the people is the voice of God.
Nobody should think that what is happening today or what has been happening in the last few days is a mere change of guards. This is not a mere change of guards. I think this is a fundamental change in the politics of our country.
Prologue. When he took the oath of office, he said his presidency was not a mere change of guards, but a fundamental change in the politics of Uganda. These words, spoken by President Yoweri Museveni upon assuming the mantle of leadership, resonate with profound philosophical significance. A declaration that transcends the realm of political transition and delves deep into the essence of transformative leadership. In the grand tapestry of human history, moments of transition often mark the passing of the baton from one leader to another, yet not all transitions are equal. Not all changes are mere superficial. President Museveni's proclamation reverberates with the recognition that his ascent to power signaled a seismic shift in the very foundations of Ugandan politics. What does it mean for a change in leadership to be fundamental? It implies a departure from the status quo, a departure from the norms and conventions that have shaped the political landscape. It signifies a break from the patterns of the past, a rupture from the inertia of history. It heralds the arrival of a visionary leader, one who is not content with the familiar paths trodden by predecessors but seeks to chart a new course, to explore uncharted territories and to redefine the possibilities of a nation. Fundamental change is not a mere change of faces in the corridors of power. It is a shifting of paradigms, a reimagining of governance, and redefinition of the social contract between the state and its citizens. It is an acknowledgement that the challenges and aspirations of a nation require a fresh perspective, a new vision, and innovative approaches. It embodies the belief that the definition of a nation can be reshaped by the vision and determination of a single leader who dares to change the status quo. Fundamental change is not without its complexities and challenges. It involves dismantling entrenched systems, confronting vested interests, and navigating the treacherous waters of resistance and inertia. It demands a profound understanding of the intricate interplay between the power and responsibility, between governance and prosperity, and between leadership and the aspirations of the people. Upon assuming power and proclaiming that his presidency was not a mere change of guards, but a fundamental change in the politics of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni invoked the profound philosophical underpinnings that transcend the superficial trappings of political transition. In those words, he embarked on a journey that ventured beyond the temporal confines of politics and delved into the very essence of transformative leadership. Fundamental change, as alluded to by President Museveni, is akin to a philosophical revolution, a paradigm shift of the conceptualization of governance, leadership, and societal contract. It signifies a departure from the nature of tradition, a rupture from historical precedents, and an audacious leap into the uncharted territories of thought. Fundamental change is the acknowledgement that the status quo, no matter how deeply entrenched, is not immutable. It is an affirmation that leaders are not bound by the limitations of the past but are endowed with the agency to shape the future. It embodies the philosophy that the destiny of a nation is not preordained but is malleable, subject to the visionary stewardship of those at the helm. Fundamental change is the recognition that the political landscape is not static but a dynamic canvas upon which leaders paint aspirations of the people. It is an acceptance that leadership is not a passive act of following the well-worn paths of predecessors, but an active, deliberate act of forging new trails, of sculpting the contours of a nation's identity, and of inscribing the values that define its character. Fundamental change is the embodiment of philosophical evolution, a testament to the belief that progress is not a linear procession but a dialectical interplay of ideas and realities. It encapsulates the understanding that transformation is not without its contradictions, complexities, and challenges. It demands an unwavering commitment to navigate the intricate labyrinth of governance, to confront the forces of resistance, and to transcend the limitations of the present in pursuit of a better future. In the context of Uganda, President Museveni's declaration of fundamental change beckons us to contemplate the role of leadership in the grand philosophical narrative of a nation. It invites us to scrutinize the profound relationship between power and responsibility, between governance and prosperity, and between leadership and the collective aspirations of the people. As we reflect on those words, we are called upon to recognize that leadership at its zenith is a philosophical force, a force that has the capacity to redefine the very essence of a nation, to recalibrate its moral compass, and to reshape its identity. It is a reminder that politics, when infused with visionary purpose, transcends the realm of pragmatism and enters the domain of profound philosophical transformation. President Museveni's declaration serves as a philosophical axiom, an affirmation of the infinite potential of leadership, the audacity of vision, and the enduring quest for a brighter tomorrow. It is an invitation to engage in the philosophical discourse that transcends the boundaries of time and prompts us to ponder the timeless questions of governance, leadership, and the internal pursuit of fundamental change. President Museveni's declaration invites us to contemplate the role of leaders as agents of fundamental change. It prompts us to reflect on the enduring impact of leadership that transcends the ephemeral cycles of politics. It challenges us to recognize that leadership at its zenith is a force that can shape the destiny of nations and transform the course of its history. In the context of Uganda, President Museveni's tenure has been marked by a relentless pursuit of fundamental change, a commitment to economic transformation, resilience in the face of adversity, and the shaping of values and identity. It serves as a testament to the power of visionary leadership that goes beyond the rhetoric of politics and delves in the realms of profound philosophical transformation. As we contemplate President Museveni's declaration, we are reminded that leadership, when driven by a visionary purpose, has the potential to be a catalyst for fundamental change, a force that can usher in a new dawn and redefine the trajectory of a nation's journey. It calls upon leaders and citizens alike to embrace the audacity of transformation and to recognize that politics of change is at its core the politics of possibility. Introduction. In the historical continuum, certain leaders and their legacies stand as towering monuments to the boundless potential of visionary leadership. They are the architects of profound change, the custodians of transformation, and the stewards of a brighter future. It is within this august pantheon of leaders that we find President Museveni, a statesman whose journey through the annals of time has left an indelible mark on the nation of Uganda and the wider canvas of human civilization. Welcome to the book Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change. This book embarks upon the philosophical odyssey that transcends mere socio-economic shifts, inviting you, the reader, to delve into the very essence of human aspiration, resilience, and the shaping of ethical landscapes. It is a contemplative voyage that defies the boundaries of time, culture, and place, as we explore the profound transformation orchestrated by President Museveni within the captivating narrative of Uganda's evolution. The title of this book encapsulates the heart of our exploration, a triad of concepts that serve as guiding stars in the constellation of President Museveni's leadership: Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation. Each concept is a philosophical pillar, a lens through which we peer into the intricate tapestry of Uganda's journey under his stewardship. Yowerinomics is more than a mere economic doctrine. It is a philosophy that shapes destinies. It questions the very essence of governance and economies, how they converge to orchestrate the symphony of a nation's prosperity. Through Yowerinomics, Museveni's Uganda seeks to reimagine the relationship between the state and citizens, offering a nuanced perspective of socio-economic empowerment. Tibuhaburwarism emerges as a beacon of resilience, a quality inherent in both individuals and nations. Drawing inspiration from the concept of Tibuhaburwarism, Museveni's leadership underscores the significance of determination and steadfastness in the face of adversity. It prompts profound questions about the interplay between leadership and the human spirit. Museveninomical dispensation invokes the notion of a transformative era, one that wields the power to recalibrate societal values. Through this lens, we scrutinize the influence of leadership on culture, ethics, and the very fabric of the nation's identity. As we embark on this intellectual odyssey, we stand at the crossroads of transformation, contemplating the ceaseless march of human societies. The enigma of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's Uganda unveils a profound philosophical tableau, a tableau that beckons us to explore the depth of leadership, societal evolution, and the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow. The chapters that follow will unveil the intricacies of these concepts and their practical manifestation in Uganda's context. We will delve into empirical evidence, real-life examples, the philosophical musings that illuminate the profound impact of President Museveni's leadership on his nation and the world at large. So let us embark on the philosophical voyage, guided by the wisdom of history and the vision of a leader who would dare to shape the destiny of a nation. Together, we will navigate the train of change, resilience, and the values in search of the profound truths that lie at the intersection of leadership and the ceaseless march of human progress. The book is divided into 5 chapters. Chapter 1, Defining Transformation. At the heart of this discourse will lie the quest for transformation, a recurring theme in the human saga. Museveni's Uganda stands at a canvas upon which the dynamics of societal evolution play out in the vivid hues. This chapter embarks upon an exploration of what transformation truly entails and why it is an enduring aspiration of humanity. Chapter 2 will talk about Yowerinomics, a philosophy of development. The term Yowerinomics transcends mere economic policy. It is a philosophy that shapes destinies, and it questions the very essence of governance and economics, how they converge to orchestrate the symphony of a nation's prosperity. Through Yowerinomics, Museveni's Uganda seeks to reimagine the relationship between the state and the citizen, offering a nuanced perspective on socio-economic empowerment. Chapter 3, Tibuhaburwarism, the resilience ethic. Tibuhaburwarism emerges as a beacon of resilience, a quality inherent of both individuals and nations. Chapter 4 will talk about Museveninomical dispensation, shaping societal values. The term Museveninomical dispensation involves the notion of transformative era that wields the power to recalibrate societal values. Through this lens, we scrutinize the influence of leadership on culture, ethics, and the very fabric of a nation's identity. Chapter 5. The Dialectics of Change. At the heart of this philosophical inquiry lies the dialectics of change, the ceaseless interplay of progress and resistance, ideas and realities. Museveni's journey offers a crucible of contemplating how leadership navigates this dialectical landscape, negotiating between aspirations and constraints. In the crucible of Uganda's history, Museveni emerges as a steward of change, wielding the philosophical forces of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical dispensation. His leadership invites us to ponder upon the transformation, resilience, and values in the tapestry of a nation's evolution. In the end, the discourse transcends Uganda's borders, beckoning us to question the essence of leadership itself and the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow. A yearning that echoes in the footsteps of leaders who strive to orchestrate fundamental change. Chapter 1. Defining Transformation. At the heart of this discourse lies the quest for transformation, a recurring theme in the human saga. Museveni's Uganda stands at a canvas upon which the dynamics of societal evolution play out in vivid colors. This chapter embarks upon an exploration of what transformation truly entails and why it is an enduring aspiration of humanity. President Yoweri Museveni's legacy is deeply intertwined with the quest for transformation and societal evolution in Uganda. His long tenure in office, which began in 1986, has left a significant mark on the nation's political, economic, and social landscape. Here, we all delve into how Museveni's legacy aligns with pursuit of transformation in Uganda, supported by empirical examples of its impact on the country. Here are 11 categories. 1. Political stability and peace building. President Museveni's leadership has been credited with bringing stability and peace to Uganda after years of conflict and instability. His government's effort to negotiate peace with rebel groups, including the Lord's Resistance Group, the LRA, have contributed to a more stable environment. Empirical data on conflict-related casualties, displacements, and decline in conflict incidents demonstrate the positive impact of political stability on the lives of Ugandans. 2. Economic transformation and growth. Under Museveni's leadership, Uganda's experienced economic growth and transformation. Economic liberation policies, attract foreign investment, and promoting entrepreneurship have all played a role. Empirical data on GDP growth rates, poverty reduction, and the expansion of the private sector showcase the economic transformation achieved during Museveni's tenure. 3. Investment in infrastructure. Infrastructure development has been a key focus of President Museveni's government. Roads, energy, and telecommunication infrastructure have seen significant improvements, enhancing connectivity and economic opportunities. Data on the expansion of road networks, access to electricity, and internet penetration rates highlight the impact of infrastructure development on Uganda's transformation. 4. Agricultural modernization. Museveni's government has promoted agriculture modernization and improved agriculture practices. Initiatives to support farmers, access to credit, and crop diversification have boosted agriculture productivity. Data on crop yields, agriculture GDP contribution, and food security indicators demonstrate the progress made in the agriculture transformation. 5. Youth empowerment and education. Efforts to improve the youth through education and skill development programs have been a hallmark of Museveni's legacy. Programs like the Universal Primary Education (UPE) and the Universal Secondary Education (USE) have increased access to education. Empirical data on enrollment rates, literacy rates, and healthcare outcomes can demonstrate the impact of these initiatives on social development. 6. Political transformation. Museveni's rise to power in the 1980s marked a significant turning point in Uganda's political history. His leadership brought an end to years of political instability, coups, and dictatorships. This transformation ushered in an era of relative political stability, a departure from the tumultuous past. Empirical evidence can be found in the decline of political violence, the establishment of multi-party political system, and the conduct of regular elections under his leadership. 7. Economic transformation. President Museveni's economic policies have aimed at transforming Uganda's economy from a state of stagnation to one of growth and development. Key initiatives have included market-oriented reforms, liberalization, and investment in key sectors like agriculture and infrastructure. Empirical data can show the country's economic growth, increased foreign investments, and improvement in infrastructure over the years as indicators of economic transformation. 8. Social transformation. Uganda has witnessed social transformations under Museveni's leadership, including improvement in education and healthcare access. 9. Regional and international diplomacy. President Museveni's leadership has been marked by active engagement in regional and international diplomacy. Uganda's participation in peacekeeping missions and regional organization reflects its role in contributing to stability in the East African region. Empirical data can highlight Uganda's involvement in peacekeeping missions, regional integration efforts, and development relations as indicators of its international influence. 10. Culture and ethical values. Museveni's government has emphasized cultural preservation and the promotion of ethical values. Initiatives to protect cultural heritages and the promotion of values like patriotism and hard work align with the text's exploration of culture and ethical dimensions of transformation. Empirical examples can include efforts to safeguard culture sites, the celebration of cultural festivals, and the integration of value-based education into the curriculum. 11. Resilience and determination. Museveni's leadership has been characterized by resilience and determination to overcome various challenges, including conflicts and economic hardships. These qualities align with the text's theme of resilience in the face of adversity. Empirical data can showcase Uganda's post-conflict recovery, economic resilience, and the determination of its people to rebuild and progress. President Museveni's legacy, as reflected in the empirical examples mentioned above, fits well into the text's exploration of transformation as an enduring aspiration. While his leadership has brought about significant changes in Uganda, it has also faced criticism and challenges, highlighting the complex nature of transformation. The enduring quest for transformation in Uganda continues to evolve, and President Museveni's legacy is an integral part of this ongoing journey. Chapter 2. Yowerinomics, a philosophy of development. The term Yowerinomics transcends mere economic policy. It is a philosophy that shapes destinies. It questions the very essence of governance and economics, how they converge to orchestrate a symphony of a nation's prosperity. Through Yowerinomics, Museveni's Uganda seeks to reimagine the relationship between the state and citizens, offering a nuanced perspective on socio-economic empowerment. Let me explore how similar concepts and tactics have been employed by exceptional leaders in other parts of the world. Here are a few examples. Nelson Mandela in the Reconciliation and Nation Building in South Africa. Nelson Mandela, the iconic leader of South Africa, empowered a philosophy of reconciliation and forgiveness after the end of apartheid. Mandela's approach can be seen as a form of transformation, transcending deep-rooted racial division to build a more inclusive society. His leadership emphasized unity, and he reframed the relationship between previously divided communities. This approach is somewhat akin to the pursuit of transformation in Yowerinomics. Exploring more practical and successful ideologies and concepts similar to Yowerinomics that have been employed by exceptional leaders in other parts of the world include 1. Franklin D. Roosevelt of the United States in the New Deal. During the Great Depression in the 1930s, President Franklin D. Roosevelt implemented the New Deal, a series of economic and social reforms. This transformative ideology aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform through government intervention. It shaped the role of the state in the economy and paved the way for the modern welfare state. Example 2. Margaret Thatcher. Thatcherism in the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher implemented a set of economic policies known as Thatcherism during the 1980s. This ideology promoted free market capitalism, deregulation and privatization, and a reduction in the role of the state into the economy. It had a profound impact on UK's economic landscape. 3. Deng Xiaoping's reform and opening up in China. Deng Xiaoping, the paramount leader of China in the late 20th century, introduced the concept of reform and opening up. This ideology shaped China from a centrally planned economy to a more market-oriented one. It led to significant economic growth and modernization, transforming China into a global economic powerhouse. 4. Atatürk's Kemalism in Turkey. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founding leader of modern Turkey, introduced Kemalism as an ideology. It aimed to transform Turkey into a secular, modern, and westernized nation-state. Kemalism led to sweeping political, legal, and social reforms, including the introduction of a new legal system and women's suffrage. 5. Lee Kuan Yew in Singapore. Singapore's founding father, Lee Kuan Yew, implemented a unique model of governance that combined liberalism and authoritarianism. His pragmatic approach focused on economic development, social stability, and good governance, transforming Singapore into a prosperous city-state. These leaders and their ideologies demonstrate how transformative concepts can reshape economies, societies, and governance structures. They offer real-world examples of how leadership and ideologies have played pivotal roles in shaping the world. 6. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi of India. Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of nonviolent resistance, known as Satyagraha, was instrumental in India's struggle for independence from the British colonial rule. Gandhi's ideology emphasized the power of nonviolence and civil disobedience as means to effective political and social change. His leadership and the adoption of Satyagraha played a crucial role in India gaining its independence in 1947. 7. Konrad Adenauer, Social Market Economy of Germany. Konrad Adenauer, the first Chancellor of West Germany after World War II, implemented the concept of social market economy. This ideology combined elements of capitalism and social welfare to create a stable and prosperous post-war Germany. It laid the foundation for the economic success of modern-day Germany. 8. José Mujica, Uruguay's progressive policies. As president of Uruguay, José Mujica pursued progressive policies that included the legalization of same-sex marriage, the decriminalization of abortion, and the regulation of the cannabis market. His leadership reflected a commitment to social justice and human rights, transforming Uruguay into a social progressive nation. 9. Jawaharlal Nehru, Nehruvian Socialism in India. India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru, adopted Nehruvian socialism as the guiding ideology for the country. This approach sought to combine democratic governance with state-led economic planning to address social and economic inequalities. It played a significant role in shaping India's early post-independence policies. 10. Lee Teng-hui, Taiwan's democratization. Lee Teng-hui, the first democratically elected president of Taiwan, initiated a process of democratization and political liberalization. His leadership transformed Taiwan from an authoritarian regime to a vibrant democracy, setting an example for other countries in the region. These examples illustrate how visionary leaders with unique ideologies have been able to bring about significant changes in their respective nations. Whether through economic reforms, social policies, non-violent movements, or political transformations, these leaders and their ideologies have had a lasting impact on their countries and often reshaped the relationship between the governments and their citizens. Yowerinomics, a philosophical exploration of Uganda's economic journey. Yowerinomics suggests a philosophy that reevaluates the relationship between governance and prosperity, focusing on socio-economic empowerment. President Museveni's leadership has been characterized by an emphasis on economic development and stability in Uganda. Over the years, Museveni's government has pursued various economic policies aimed at fostering growth, including liberalization of markets, attracting foreign investments, and promoting entrepreneurship. Uganda's economic performance has shown improvement in terms of GDP growth and poverty reduction during his tenure, aligning with the goals of Yowerinomics. Yowerinomics is described as a philosophy that reevaluates the relationship between governance and prosperity, emphasizing socio-economic empowerment. In the case of Uganda under President Yoweri Museveni's leadership, there are several key economic indicators and policies that can be examined. First, economic growth. Uganda has experienced relatively steady economic growth during Museveni's tenure. According to World Bank data, Uganda's GDP growth rate has varied over the years but has generally remained positive. For instance, in 2020, despite the global economic challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, Uganda's economy still grew at a rate of 3.3%. The government has focused on various sectors such as agriculture, the service industry, and industrialization to drive economic growth. Second, poverty reduction. One of the goals of Yowerinomics is socio-economic empowerment. Data from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, UBOS, indicates a decline in poverty rates over the years. For example, in 2006, the national poverty rate was 31.1%. And by 2016 to 2017, 10 years later, it had decreased to 21.4%, a reduction of 10%. Poverty reduction efforts include initiatives like the National Agricultural Advisory Services (NADS) and interventions in healthcare and education. The third, investment promotion. The Uganda government has sought to attract foreign investments and promote private sector growth. Various incentives such as tax breaks and investment guarantees have been implemented to encourage investment. The World Bank's Ease of Doing Business Index showed improvements in Uganda's business environment in areas such as starting a business, registering property, and getting credit. Fourth, infrastructure development. Infrastructure development has been a focus of Museveni's leadership. This includes investments in road networks, electricity generation, and telecommunications. Such developments are essential for economic growth and attract investment, improving connectivity and reducing transportation costs. These efforts have contributed to economic growth and trade facilitation. 5. Agriculture and rural development. Agriculture is a significant sector in Uganda, and policies have been directed towards improving agricultural productivity and rural development. Initiatives like Operation Wealth Creation aim to empower rural communities. 6. Economic growth and development. Uganda has experienced relatively steady economic growth over the years. The gross domestic product, the GDP, growth rate has averaged around 5 to 6% per annum in the decade leading to 2022. While this is notable, it is important to consider that Uganda's economy has faced fluctuations due to factors like external shocks and internal challenges. 7. Poverty reduction and human development. The government has implemented various programs aimed at poverty reduction and human development. The Poverty Reduction Action Plan and the National Development Plan have focused on improving living conditions, access to education, and healthcare services for Ugandans. Ugandan's Human Development Index has showed improvement over the years, reflecting progress in life expectancy, education, and per capita income. 8. The agriculture sector. Agriculture is a key sector in Uganda's economy, empowering a significant portion of the population. Thus, government initiatives have aimed at promoting agriculture productivity and reducing dependence on subsistence farming. The plan for modernization of agriculture and intervention in the coffee, tea, and maize sector have contributed to increased agriculture output. The 9th factor, the foreign direct investment, FDI. Uganda has sought to attract foreign investment to spur economic growth. Various sectors, including manufacturing, energy, and tourism, have been targeted for the FDI. Empirical data would show the trends in the foreign direct investment inflows and their impact on sectors and employment. Complexities and metaphysical scrutiny of Yowerinomics. Yowerinomics encompasses a range of economic policies and strategies aimed at fostering prosperity, reducing poverty, and promoting economic development in Uganda. Empirical data on various economic indicators such as GDP growth, poverty rates, agriculture productivity, infrastructure development, and private sector growth are essential for assessing the impact of these policies on the country's socio-economic landscape. However, it is important to note that effectiveness and outcomes of these policies can be influenced by a variety of factors, and comprehensive analysis is required to evaluate their success and challenges. While Uganda has made strides in various aspects of its economic development, it faces several pressing challenges which require a deeper philosophical examination. These challenges encompass issues such as corruption, income inequality, limited formal job creation, political stability, governance, and the impact of government policies on economic development. 1. Trade and investment partnerships. Uganda's engagement in trade and investment partnerships with various countries and regional blocs like the East African Community and the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa, COMESA, reflects its commitment to fostering economic cooperation. However, these partnerships also raise philosophical questions about the balance between economic growth and potential loss of sovereignty, as well as the impact of globalization on local industries and livelihoods. 2. Youth entrepreneurship. The government's recognition of the importance of youth empowerment and entrepreneurship is commendable. Still, a philosophical inquiry may delve into the broader societal implications of these initiatives, considering how they affect not only youth empowerment but also cultural values, education systems, and generational dynamics. 3. Challenges in fiscal management. The challenges related to fiscal management and public debt sustainability raise fundamental questions about the ethics of government financial management. Philosophical discussions may center on the responsibilities of governments in managing public resources and debt in a way that serves the long-term interests of the population. 4. Private sector development. Promoting private sector development is a significant economic strategy. Philosophical scrutiny could also involve debates about the role of government in shaping economic landscapes, balancing regulation with free market policies, and the ethical considerations of private sector growth, particularly regarding labor practices and social responsibility. 5. Infrastructure development and access to markets. While infrastructure development is crucial for economic growth, philosophical inquiries may revolve around the ethical considerations of resource allocation between rural and urban areas, the environmental impact of infrastructure projects, and how improved access to markets affect local communities and traditions. 6. Innovation and technology. Investment in innovation and technology opens discussions about the ethics of technological progress, digital access as a human right, and the potential societal implications of rapid technological advancement, including issues related to privacy, security, and social quality. 7. Foreign aid and development assistance. The philosophical examination of foreign aid and development assistance raises questions about the ethics and dynamics of international relations. Discussions may focus on the principles of donor-recipient relationships, the potential for dependence, and the ethical responsibility of developed nations in assisting less economically privileged countries. 8. Agriculture transformation and food security. The pursuit of agriculture modernization and food security prompts philosophical inquiries into the balance between technological advancement and ecological sustainability. Additionally, debates may center on the ethics of ensuring food security in the face of potential global food crises. 9. Inequality and income distribution. Income inequality and wealth disparities underscore the philosophical challenge of social justice. Philosophical discussions may explore the moral and ethical dimensions of income redistribution, the role of government in promoting economic equality, and the consequences of inequality on social cohesion. 10. Access to education and healthcare. Ensuring access to education and healthcare services raises questions about social rights and equality. Philosophical examinations may delve into issues of equal opportunity. The moral duty of the state is to provide essential services, and the ethical considerations of healthcare rationing and education quality. 11. Industrialization and value addition. Philosophical inquiries into industrialization and value addition may center on the balance between economic growth and environmental preservation. Discussions could also explore the ethical implications of transforming traditional livelihoods in favor of industrialization. Environmental sustainability. Environmental sustainability is a critical issue with philosophical dimensions related to intergenerational equality, the ethical responsibility of economic development, and the moral obligations to protect the environment for future generations. 13. Infrastructure connectivity with neighbors. The pursuit of regional infrastructure connectivity engages philosophical discussions about regional cooperation, sovereignty, and the ethics of international collaboration for economic development. 14. Youth empowerment and entrepreneurship. Philosophical considerations surrounding youth employment and entrepreneurship involve discussions about intergenerational justice, social mobility, and the ethical responsibilities of governments and societies in creating opportunities for young people. In summary, Uganda's economic and social challenges encompass a wide range of philosophical questions and ethical considerations. These issues touch upon themes such as justice, equality, sustainability, and the ethical responsibilities of government and the international community in shaping Uganda's economic future. A deeper philosophical examination can help stakeholders and policymakers navigate these complex challenges while keeping ethical principles at the forefront of decision making. Chapter 3: Tibuhaburwarism, the Resilient Ethic. Tibuhaburwarism emerges as a beacon of resilience, a quality inherent in both individuals and nations. Drawing inspiration from the concept of Tibuhaburwarism, Museveni's leadership underscores the significance of determination and steadfastness in the face of adversity. It prompts profound questions about the interplay between leadership and the human spirit. Mahatma Gandhi's non-violent resistance in India. Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of non-violent resistance, known as Satyagraha, sought not just political change but also a transformation of societal values. He encouraged individuals to be resilient in the face of adversity, much like the concept of Tibuhaburwarism. His leadership played a pivotal role in India's struggle for independence and reshaped the nation's ethical landscape. Nelson Mandela's reconciliation and nation building in South Africa. Nelson Mandela's approach to reconciliation and forgiveness after the end of apartheid in South Africa embodies resilience too. He endured 27 years in prison, yet emerged as a steadfast leader advocating for unity and reconciliation. Mandela's resilience in the face of adversity played a pivotal role in South Africa's transition to democracy and its journey towards nation building. Winston Churchill's leadership during World War II in the United Kingdom. Winston Churchill's leadership during World War II is also an example of unwavering determination in the face of immense adversity. As Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, he inspired and rallied the British people to resist the Nazi aggression. His resolve and resilience contributed significantly to the Allied victory in the war. Aung San Suu Kyi's non-violent operation in Myanmar. Aung San Suu Kyi, a Nobel Prize laureate and leader of the democratic movement in Myanmar, demonstrated resilience through her peaceful opposition to military rule. Despite years of house arrest and personal sacrifice, she remained steadfast in her commitment to democracy and human rights. Martin Luther King Jr.'s civil rights movement in the United States. Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership during the American civil rights movement exemplifies also resilience in the pursuit of social justice. He advocated for nonviolent protest and endured personal hardship and violence while pushing for racial equality and civil rights in the United States. Wangari Maathai in the environmental conservation of Kenya. Wangari Maathai, the founder of Green Belt movement, demonstrated remarkable determination in her efforts to promote environmental conservation and women's empowerment in Kenya. She faced political opposition, but her resilience and determination led to the planting of millions of trees and the empowerment of countless women. Malala Yousafzai's girl education in Pakistan. Malala Yousafzai, a young advocate for girls' education, exhibited extraordinary resilience in the face of violence and oppression by the Taliban. Despite being targeted for advocating education for girls, she continued her activism, becoming a global symbol of determination in the pursuit of education and gender equality. Rosa Parks on the civil rights activism in United States. Rosa Parks, often referred to as the mother of civil rights movement, showed remarkable resilience when she refused to give up her bus seat to a white man in Montgomery, Alabama. Her act of civil disobedience sparked the Montgomery bus boycott and ignited the broader civil rights movement. Václav Havel's non-violent resistance in Czechoslovakia. Václav Havel, a dissident playwright and later the first president of the post-communist Czechoslovakia, demonstrated resilience through his writings and peaceful resistance against the communist regime. His determination played a pivotal role in the Velvet Revolution and the transition to democracy. Nathan Sharansky of the Soviet Union and Israel. Nathan Sharansky, a Soviet dissident, exhibited incredible determination during his years of imprisonment and struggle against the Soviet regime. His unwavering commitment to human rights and his resilience inspired others. After his release, he became a prominent figure in Israeli politics, emphasizing the importance of freedom and democracy. Rigoberta Menchú, Indigenous Rights of Guatemala. Rigoberta Menchú, a Nobel laureate and indigenous rights activist from Guatemala, faced adversity while advocating for the rights of indigenous communities in Central America. Despite threats and personal hardships, she persevered in her efforts to promote social justice and cultural preservation. Abdul Sattar Edil's philanthropy in Pakistan. Abdul Sattar Edil, a Pakistani philanthropist, demonstrated remarkable resilience in his lifelong dedication to providing healthcare and social services to the marginalized and undeserved in Pakistan. His unwavering determination to help those in need earned him national and international recognition. Abebe Bikila, a marathon runner of Ethiopia. Abebe Bikila, an Ethiopian marathon runner, displayed extraordinary determination when he won the 1960 Rome Olympics marathon barefoot just 6 weeks after undergoing surgery. His triumph became a symbol of resilience and endurance. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's leadership in Liberia. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the first female president of Liberia, a Nobel laureate, exhibited determination in her efforts to rebuild Liberia after years of civil conflict. She worked tirelessly to promote reconciliation, economic development, and good governance. These leaders and their respective ideologies and actions exemplify the qualities of resilience and determination in leadership, much like Tibuhaburwarism. They faced immense challenges including political oppression, adversity, and personal sacrifices, yet they remained steadfast in their commitment to their causes. Whether it was promoting human rights, social injustice, democracy, or culture preservation, their stories serve as an inspiration and reminders of the transformative power of unwavering determination in the face of adversity. Chapter 4. Tibuhaburwarism, a philosophical inquiry into the resilience, determination, and economic development in Uganda under President Museveni's stewardship. Tibuhaburwarism underscores the significance of resilience and determination in the face of adversity. President Museveni's leadership has often been associated with the ability to maintain stability and address security challenges in Uganda. Museveni's government has faced numerous internal and external challenges, including armed conflict, rebel movements, and regional instability. His resilience and determination to maintain peace and stability have been key features of his leadership. The National Resistance Movement government under his leadership has implemented policies aimed at post-conflict recovery and reconciliation in conflict-affected areas of Uganda. In the context of Uganda, Tibuhaburwarism has showed the country's resilience and determination. I will highlight resilience and determination in Uganda. Number 1. Resilience in the face of conflicts. Uganda has faced several conflicts and challenges over the years, including the Lord's Resistance Army insurgents in the northern region. The resilience of the Ugandan people and their determination to build their lives in the aftermath of the conflicts has been evident. Empirical data on post-conflict recovery, displacement, and rehabilitation efforts can highlight the resilience of affected communities. 2. Health resilience and disease outbreaks. Uganda has dealt with health crises, including the outbreak of diseases like Ebola and the response to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. The determination of healthcare workers and communities to combat these challenges is a testament to their resilience. Data on healthcare infrastructure, disease management, and public health initiatives can provide insight in the country's response to the health crises. 3. Agriculture resilience and food security. Agriculture communities in Uganda have demonstrated resilience in the face of climatic variations and challenges such as droughts and floods. Their determination to adapt and maintain food security has been crucial. Empirical data on crop yields, agriculture practices, and food security indicators can illustrate the resilience of the Ugandan farmers. 4. Environmental resilience and conservation. Uganda's commitment to environmental conservation, including efforts to protect national parks and wildlife, reflects determination to preserve natural resources for future generations. Data on conservation efforts, protected areas, and wildlife populations can highlight the country's dedication to environmental resilience. 5. Youth resilience and education. Uganda's youth have shown resilience in pursuing education and vocational training despite challenges such as limited access to resources and quality education. Empirical data on youth enrollment in schools, educational outcomes, and skill development programs can demonstrate the determination of Uganda's youth. 6. Entrepreneurial resilience and innovation. Uganda's entrepreneurs and innovators have demonstrated resilience by launching startups and small businesses even in the face of economic challenges. Data on entrepreneurships, startup growth, and innovation hubs can show the determination of Uganda's entrepreneurs. 7. Community and social resilience. Communities in Uganda have often come together to address social and economic challenges collectively. Determination and social cohesion have been key to resilience in many contexts. Empirical data on community-led initiatives, self-help groups, and social capital can provide insights into these dynamics. 8. Conflict resolution and peace building. Uganda's effort to resolve conflicts, including the negotiation with rebel groups like the LRA, reflect determination to achieve peace and stability. Empirical data on peace agreements, disarmament programs, and post-conflict reconciliation can demonstrate this progress in this area. 9. Women's empowerment and gender equality. The determination of women rights advocates and policy makers in Uganda has led to advancements in gender equality and women's empowerment. Empirical data on gender gaps, women's participation in leadership, and access to education and healthcare can highlight these achievements. 10. Humanitarian response and refugee support. Uganda has shown resilience and determination in providing humanitarian assistance to refugees from neighboring countries, particularly South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Empirical data on refugee populations, aid distribution, and integration efforts can illustrate these humanitarian efforts. 12. Innovation in agriculture and climate adaptation. Ugandan farmers and agriculture researchers have displayed resilience by adopting innovative practices to address the climate change challenges. Empirical data on climate adaptation strategies, crop diversification, and the impact of food security can showcase their determination. 13. Community-led conservation efforts. Communities in Uganda have played a role in wildlife and forest conservation. Their determination to protect natural resources and combat illegal activities such as poaching can be reflected in data on conservation outcomes and community-based initiatives. 14. Education access and quality improvement. Uganda's commitment to expand access to education and improve its quality demonstrates determination in investment in human capital development. Empirical data on school enrollment, literacy rates, and educational infrastructure can provide insight into progress in the educational sector. 15. Healthcare infrastructure expansion. The expansion of healthcare infrastructure services, including efforts to address diseases like malaria and maternal health, underscores Uganda's determination to improve public health. Empirical data on healthcare facilities, disease prevalence, and vaccination rates can illustrate these efforts. 16. Youth-led social initiatives. Youth-led social initiatives and community engagement efforts have demonstrated determination to address local challenges, from environmental conservation to social entrepreneurship. Data on the impact and reach of these initiatives can highlight their contributions. 17. Community-based healthcare initiatives. Uganda has seen the rise of community-based healthcare initiatives where local communities take an active role in healthcare delivery and awareness. Empirical data on the effectiveness of such initiatives, community health outcomes, and healthcare access can provide insight into their impact. 18. Social entrepreneurship and microfinance. The determination of social entrepreneurs and microfinance institutions in Uganda has contributed to economic empowerment and poverty reduction. Data on microfinance lending, entrepreneurship success stories, and poverty reduction indicators can showcase their achievements. 19. Disaster preparedness and response. Uganda has experienced numerous natural disasters such as floods and landslides. The determination to enhance disaster preparedness and response mechanisms can be reflected in data on disaster management strategies, early warning systems, and relief efforts. 20. Culture preservation and heritage conservation. Uganda's commitment to preserving its cultural heritage and traditional practices reflect determination to maintain cultural identity. Data on culture preservation efforts, heritage sites, and the impact of cultural awareness can also be assessed. 21. Local governance and decentralization. Uganda has implemented decentralization policies to empower local governments. Data on local governance structures, citizen participation, and service delivery at the grassroots level can assess the impact of decentralization efforts. 21. Community resilience in the face of climate change. Ugandan communities, particularly in vulnerable regions, have demonstrated resilience by adapting to climate change impacts. Data on climate adaptation strategies, agriculture practices, and community-led environment initiatives can highlight these efforts. 22. Inclusive education for persons with disability. The determination to provide inclusion education for persons with disability can be assessed through data on access to education, specialized services, and educational outcomes for this segment of the population. 23. Media and freedom of expression. Empirical data on media freedom, press freedom indices, and access to information can reflect efforts to protect freedom of expression and press in Uganda. 24. Civil rights activism and advocacy. Civil society organizations and activists have played a role in advocating for various social and political issues in Uganda. Data on civil society activities, advocacy campaigns, and their impact on policy changes can be analyzed. These areas demonstrate the breadth of determination and resilience in Uganda across various sectors and issues. Empirical data in these domains can provide a nuanced understanding of the challenges faced and the progress made in each area, contributing to a comprehensive assessment of Tibuhaburwarism in the country. Chapter 5. Museveninomical Dispensation, Shaping Societal Values. The term Museveninomical dispensation invokes the notion of a transformative era, one that wields the power to recalibrate societal values. Through this lens, we scrutinize the influence of leadership on culture, ethics, and the very fabric of a nation's identity. Lee Kuan Yew, transformative leader of Singapore, was the founding father of Singapore and implemented a set of policies that transformed the small undeveloped nation into a prosperous and modern city-state. His leadership, often referred to as Lee Kuan Yew's pragmatic leadership, involved reshaping the culture, values, and identity of Singaporeans. This bears some resemblance to the idea of Museveninomical dispensation, where leaders shape the ethical landscape. Napoleon Bonaparte, a military and political strategist in France, was a prominent historical figure who employed innovative military and political strategies to transform France and much of Europe during the Napoleonic era. While his methods were controversial, they reflected a form of leadership that shaped political and cultural landscapes. Kemal Atatürk. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk, the founder of modern Turkey, implemented Kemalism as an ideology to transform Turkey into a secular and westernized nation-state. His leadership reshaped Turkish culture, values, and identity by promoting secularism, education, and modernization. Peter the Great westernized Russia. Peter the Great was a Tsar who westernized Russia and pursued a policy of westernization in the 17th and 18th century. His leadership aimed to modernize Russia by adopting European customs, technology, and governance practices, significantly influencing the Russian culture and identity. Mao Zedong's leadership during the Cultural Revolution in China also aimed to reshape Chinese culture, ethics, and identity by promoting communist ideology and eradicating traditional elements. While highly controversial and tumultuous, it reflects the profound influence of leadership on a nation's culture and ethical landscape. Queen Victoria of the United Kingdom's reign during the British Empire's height had a significant impact on culture, values, and identity of both the United Kingdom and its colonies. Her leadership contributed to the spread of the British culture, language, and legal systems across vast territories. Joseph Stalin's leadership in the Soviet Union involved a policy of Sovietization, which aimed to spread communist ideology and create a unified Soviet culture across diverse ethnic groups. His leadership had a lasting impact on the culture and ethical landscapes of the Soviet republics. The Elizabethan era in the United Kingdom under Queen Elizabeth I's leadership is often associated with the cultural renaissance in England. Her reign saw the flourishing of English literature, theatre, and the arts, which contributed to the shaping of the nation's cultural identity. Genghis Khan of the Mongol Empire. His leadership and quests across Asia and Europe had a profound impact on the cultural exchange between different regions. The Mongol Empire facilitated the exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices, influencing the development of various societies. Ho Chi Minh's leadership in Vietnam's struggle for independence was also another example where against colonial powers shaped the nation's identity as a fierce, independent, and unified country. His leadership portrayed a pivotal role in the culture and ethical development of modern-day Vietnam. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony, Women's Suffrage Movement of the United States. The leadership of Elizabeth Cady Stanton and Susan B. Anthony in the women's suffrage movement transformed the culture and ethical norms surrounding gender equality in the United States. Their advocacy led to the eventual granting of women's right to vote. Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation in the United States. Abraham Lincoln's leadership during the American Civil War and the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation had a profound impact on the ethical landscape of the United States. It marked a significant step towards the abolition of slavery and the promotion of civil rights. These examples demonstrate how leaders, through their policies, actions, and visions, have shaped the cultures, values, and identities of their nations. Their leadership influenced not only the political and economic aspects of society, but also the ethical and cultural dimensions. In each case, leaders played a pivotal role in guiding their countries through transformative eras akin to the concept of Museveninomical dispensation, where leadership's influence on culture and ethics is paramount. Museveninomical dispensation, unearthing the potential forces of leadership on culture, ethics, and the bedrock of societal identity. Museveninomical dispensation highlights the transformative power of leadership on culture, ethics, and social identity. Museveni's leadership has had a significant influence on Uganda's political, culture, and ethical landscape. Museveni has been in power for an extended period, and during his tenure, he has shaped Uganda's political and governance structures. His leadership has emphasized concepts such as African socialism and no-party democracy, which have influenced Uganda's political culture. His government has implemented policies related to education, healthcare, and infrastructure development, which have had a societal impact and shaped the nation's developing trajectory. There have also been debates and discussions about the evolution of Uganda's political and cultural identity under his leadership. the concept of Museveninomical dispensation in the context of Uganda, and exploration of how this concept relates to the influence of leadership culture, ethics, and the nation's identity includes the following examples. 1. Leadership and political culture. President Museveni's long tenure in office has had a significant impact on Uganda's political culture. His leadership style, which has included elements of African socialism and party democracy, has influenced the nation's approach to governance. Empirical data on political participation, voter turnouts, and attitudes towards governance can provide insights into the evolving political culture under Museveni's leadership. 2. Ethical landscape and governance values. The values and ethics promoted by leadership shape the moral fabric of a nation. Museveni's government has emphasized that values like patriotism, unity, and hard work. Survey and data on public perception of ethical values and governance can offer insights into how these values have been internalized by the population. 3. National identity and patriotism. Leadership plays a role in shaping a nation's identity and fostering a sense of patriotism. Museveni's leadership has been associated with promotion of a Ugandan national identity. Empirical data on national identity, culture awareness, and patriotism can reveal the impact of leadership on shaping these aspects. 4. Cultural heritage and preservation. Museveni's government has promoted the preservation of Uganda's cultural heritage and traditional practices. Initiatives to protect cultural sites and support cultural festivals reflect this emphasis. Data on cultural heritage sites, participation in cultural events, and cultural awareness efforts can illustrate the influence of leadership on cultural preservation. 5. Educational reforms and value-based education. The introduction of value-based education in Uganda's curriculum has been part of efforts to instill certain values and ethics in the youth. Data on the integration of values in education and its impact on students' perspectives can be assessed. 6. Economic policy and work ethic. Economic policies under Museveni's leadership have included an emphasis on hard work and entrepreneurship. The government has promoted self-reliance and economic empowerment. Empirical data on employment rates, entrepreneurship activities, and attitudes towards work ethic can provide insights into the impact of economic policies on the nation's work culture. 7. Social welfare and inclusivity. Leadership influences social welfare policies and inclusivity efforts. Now, Museveni's government has introduced social programs to address poverty and promote inclusivity. Observed data on social welfare outcomes, poverty reduction, and access to services for marginalized populations can show the impact of leadership on inclusivity. 8. International relations and diplomacy. Museveni's leadership has shaped Uganda's foreign policy and international relations. His role in regional diplomacy and peacekeeping missions has contributed to the nation's international identity. Observed data on Uganda's international engagements, diplomatic relations, and perceptions in the global community can highlight the influence of leadership on the international identity. 9. Media and communication landscape. The media environment and communication policies can be influenced by leadership too. Empirical data on media freedom, access to information, and the diversity of media outlets can provide insights into the context of media influence and government control. 10. Social values and morality. Leadership can impact social values and moral standards. Now, Museveni's government has taken positions on issues related to morality and social values, particularly to matters related to family and marriage. Survey and data on public attitudes towards social values, family structures, and morality can demonstrate the influence of leadership in shaping these aspects of society. 11. Public service and bureaucratic ethics. The conduct and ethics of public servants can be influenced by leadership. Empirical data on public service ethics, corruption levels, and accountability mechanisms can reveal the impact of leadership on bureaucratic culture. 12. Youth and civic engagement. Leadership can inspire or discourage youth participation in civic and political activities. Data on youth engagement in political processes, volunteerism, and community involvement can indicate the influence of leadership on civic culture. 13. Culture exchanges and soft power. Uganda's engagement in cultural exchanges and diplomacy can be shaped by leadership. Empirical data on cultural diplomacy initiatives, international partnerships, and perceptions of Uganda's cultural exports can demonstrate the influence of leadership on soft power. 14. Legal and judicial system. Leadership can impact the legal and judicial system. Data on independence of the judiciary, legal reforms, and access to justice can provide insight in the influence of leadership on the rule of law and legal ethics. 15. Gender and women's rights. Leadership plays a role in shaping policies related to gender equality and women's rights. Data on gender-based violence, women's representation in leadership roles, and legal reforms can reflect the impact of leadership on gender dynamics. 16. Religious and ethical pluralism. Leadership can influence religious and ethical pluralism by promoting tolerance or exclusivity. Data on religious diversity, interfaith dialogue, and religious freedom can indicate the influence of leadership on these dimensions. 17. Art, culture, and creative expression. Leadership can impact the culture and creative sector. Data on art exhibitions, culture festivals, and freedom of artistic expression can illustrate the influence of leadership on the cultural vibrance. 18. Environmental ethics and conservation efforts. Leadership can shape attitudes towards environmental conservation and sustainability. Empirical data on conservation policies, environmental awareness, and conservation outcomes can show the impact of leadership on environmental ethics. 19. Ethnic and regional identity. Leadership can influence ethnic and regional identity dynamics. Data on perceptions of ethnic and regional inclusivity, political representation, and intergroup relations can demonstrate the impact of leadership on these identities. 20. Civil society and advocacy movements. The instance of leadership towards civil society organizations and advocacy movements can influence their activities and influence. Data on the growth and impact of civil society, as well as government responses to advocacy, can reflect these dynamics. 21. Youth culture movements. Youth-led culture movements and expression can be influenced by leadership. Data on youth culture trends, artistic movements, and cultural innovations can highlight the role of leadership in shaping youth culture. 22. Access to information and freedom of expression. The availability of information and the freedom of expression can be impacted by leadership policies. Data on media censorship, internet access, and press freedom can indicate the level of information freedom under leadership. 23. Historical narratives and educational curriculum. Leadership can change historical narratives and educational curriculum. Data on history teaching, curriculum content, and public perceptions of historical events can reflect the influence of leadership on national narratives. 24. Migration and diaspora relations. Leadership policies can also affect migration patterns and relations with the diaspora. Data on immigration, remittances, and government initiatives targeting the diaspora can show the impact of leadership on these aspects. 25. International cultural exchanges. Leadership can influence international cultural exchanges and culture diplomacy efforts. Data on cultural exchange programs, international partnerships, and the reception of Uganda's culture abroad can indicate the reach of leadership's cultural influence. 26. Healthcare ethics and medical practices. Leadership can impact healthcare ethics and medical practices. Data on medical ethics guidelines, healthcare infrastructure, and patient satisfaction can provide insights into the ethical standards of healthcare under leadership. 27. Consumer culture and economic values. Economic policies and leadership can influence consumer culture and economic values. Data on consumer behavior, spending patterns, and attitudes towards economic policies can reflect the influence of leadership on economic values. 28. Scientific research and innovation. Leadership can impact scientific research and innovative ecosystems. Data on research funding, innovative hubs, scientific output can demonstrate the influence of leadership on the scientific and technological landscape. Examining empirical data in all these areas can provide a comprehensive understanding of how President Museveni's leadership has influenced various dimensions of Uganda's culture, ethics, and national identity. It allows for a nuanced assessment of the impact of leadership on the nation's values, behaviors, and societal norms across a wider range of domains. Chapter 6. The Dialectics of Change. At the heart of this philosophical inquiry lies the dialectics of change. The concept of the dialectics of change in the context of President Museveni's leadership in Uganda encompasses the complex and dynamic interplay between progress and resilience, ideas and realities. Museveni's journey offers a crucible for contemplating how leadership navigates this dialectical landscape, negotiating between aspirations and constraints. It reflects the challenges and opportunities faced by any leader seeking to bring about transformation and navigate the intricate landscape of governance. Let us explore how this concept aligns with the three issues previously discussed and provide empirical examples. Yowerinomics and economic transformation. The dialectics of change are evident in economic transformation efforts. While Yowerinomics seeks to reframe the relationship between governance and prosperity, there are challenges and constraints to the outcome. An empirical example: Uganda's economic progress, characterized by improvements in GDP growth and infrastructure development, is encountered by income inequality and unemployment rates. President Museveni's leadership has navigated these complexities by implementing economic reforms while addressing social disparities. Yowerinomics represent President Museveni's economic policies and vision for Uganda. It seeks to reframe the relationship between governance and prosperity by emphasizing market-oriented reforms, infrastructure development, and economic growth. Economic transformation often encounters challenges and constraints, which can be viewed through the lens of dialectics of change. While Uganda has made progress, it has also faced hurdles in achieving inclusive and sustainable economic growth. Empirical examples. 1. GDP growth versus income inequality. Uganda has experienced steady GDP growth over the years, reflecting progress in the economy. However, this growth has not always translated into significant reductions in income inequality. Uganda's GDP growth rate averaged around 5% in the years leading up to 2022. However, income inequality remains a challenge, with the Gini coefficient indicating disparities in income distribution. 2. Infrastructure development versus regional disparities. President Museveni's emphasis on infrastructure development, such as roads and electricity, has been a key aspect of Yowerinomics. However, there are disparities in infrastructure development between regions. While there have been infrastructure improvements, rural areas still face infrastructure deficits compared to urban centers. This highlights the need to address regional disparities. 3. Economic reforms versus unemployment. Economic reforms aimed at liberation and market-oriented policies have attracted investment and spurred economic growth. However, unemployment remains a challenge, particularly among the youth. Uganda has made efforts to create jobs through initiatives like the Youth Livelihood Program. However, the unemployment rate among the youth remains relatively high, emphasizing the need for targeted employment strategies. 4. Agriculture and value addition versus rural poverty. Yowerinomics has recognized agriculture as a vital sector and promoted value addition in agribusiness. However, rural poverty and subsistence farming persists. While value addition efforts have been made in agriculture, rural poverty remains a concern. Many smallholder farmers face challenges accessing markets and resources. 5. Foreign investment versus economic sovereignty. Attracting foreign investment has been a component of economic transformation. However, there is a balance to strike between foreign investments and maintaining economic sovereignty. Uganda has attracted foreign direct investment in sectors like energy and telecommunication. However, ensuring that these investments benefit the local economy and do not compromise sovereignty is an ongoing challenge. President Museveni's leadership in the realm of economic transformation reflects the dialectics of change. While there have been notable economic achievements, challenges such as economic inequality, regional disparities, unemployment, and rural poverty persists. The leadership's response to these challenges involves a consistent negotiation between ideas and realities, emphasizing the complexity of driving the economic transformation in a developing nation like Uganda. Tibuhaburwarism and resilience in the face of challenges. The dialectics of change also apply to resilience and determination. While Tibuhaburwarism embodies the tenacity to overcome adversity, leaders must address obstacles and setbacks. An empirical example: Uganda's history includes periods of conflict, including the LRA insurgents. President Museveni's leadership demonstrated resilience by pursuing peace negotiations and post-conflict recovery efforts. The dialectical tension between conflict and peace underscores the complexity of leadership in the face of adversity. The concept of Tibuhaburwarism and resilience in the face of challenges in Uganda, considering the dialectics of change, challenges, and practical examples. Tibuhaburwarism embodies the tenacity to overcome adversity, reflecting the resilience and determination required in leadership. Leaders must address obstacles and setbacks while navigating the complex dialectical landscape. Challenges and constraints. Uganda has faced periods of conflict and adversity which test the resilience of both the leadership and the population. The dialectics of change, including the tension between conflict and peace. Empirical examples include 1. The LRA insurgents and peace negotiations. Uganda's history includes the brutal Lord's Resistance Army insurgents, which pose significant challenges to peace and stability of the country. President Museveni's leadership demonstrated resilience through the efforts to bring about peace. Peace negotiations with the LRA led to the Juba Agreement in 2006, followed by a gradual reduction in violence. This exemplifies President Museveni's determination to address the conflict and bring about reconciliation. 2. Post-conflict recovery and northern Uganda. After the LRA insurgents, the northern region of Uganda faced the challenge of post-conflict recovery. President Museveni's leadership focused on rebuilding the nation and promoting reconciliation. Initiatives such as the Northern Uganda Social Action Fund aimed to support post-conflict recovery. Schools, roads, and healthcare facilities were rebuilt to improve the livelihoods of the affected communities. 3. Resilience in the face of natural disasters. Uganda has experienced natural disasters, including floods and landslides, which have tested the resilience of communities. Under President Museveni's leadership has involved responding to these disasters and implementing measures for disaster preparedness. The government has launched disaster response initiatives and early warning systems. These efforts reflect the determination to address the challenges posed by natural disasters and protect a vulnerable population. 4. Regional conflicts and diplomacy. Uganda's geographical location has exposed it to regional conflicts, such as the conflicts in neighboring countries like South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo. President Museveni's leadership has been so resilient in promoting regional stability and peace. Uganda has played a role in regional diplomacy and peacekeeping missions. The country's involvement in regional peace initiatives demonstrates its resilience in navigating complex regional conflicts. 5. Health crises and epidemics. Uganda has faced health crises, including epidemics such as the Ebola and COVID-19 epidemic. The leadership's resilience has often been tested in responding to these challenges. Uganda's response to health crises has involved measures such as surveillance, vaccination campaigns, and public health campaigns. These efforts reflect the leadership's determination to address health emergencies. President Museveni's leadership in the face of adversity exemplifies the concept of Tibuhaburwarism and resilience. These empiric examples demonstrate a determination to address conflict, promote post-conflict recovery, respond to natural disasters, engage in regional diplomacy, and handle health crises. It underscores the complexity of leadership in Uganda, while resilience is essential in navigating the dialectical tension between adversities and progress. Museveninomical, Dispensation, and Shaping Values and Identities. Shaping cultural values and societal identity involves navigating the dialectics of change. As leaders influence ethical landscapes, this process can encounter resilience and competing values. Empirical examples include President Museveni's emphasis on patriotism and cultural preservation reflects his desire to shape Uganda's cultural identity. However, the dialectical landscape includes diverse culture and ethical perspectives. The government's efforts in culture preservation must coexist with the recognition of cultural diversity and pluralism within Uganda. The concept of Museveninomical dispensation and shaping values and identity in Uganda, considering the dialectics of change, challenges, and practical examples. Museveninomical dispensation involves leadership influence on cultural values, ethics, and national identity. Navigating the dialectics of change in this context means addressing the complexities of shaping ethical landscapes and diverse culture and ethical perspectives. Challenges and constraints. Shaping cultural values and identity can encounter resilience and competition from existing cultural and ethical values. Recognizing cultural diversity while at the same time promoting specific values is a complex balancing act for leaders. Empirical examples include 1. Emphasis on patriotism and national identity. President Museveni's leadership has emphasized patriotism as a means to shape Uganda's national identity. This includes efforts to instill a sense of pride and loyalty to the nation. Initiatives like the patriotism clubs in schools and the annual National Patriotism Day reflect the emphasis on patriotism. These efforts aim to instill a common national identity. 2. Cultural preservation and heritage sites. The government has prioritized the preservation of Uganda's cultural heritage, including historical sites and traditional practices. Investments in cultural heritage sites such as Kasubi tombs and the Kingdom of Buganda demonstrate the commitment to preserving cultural heritage. 3. Religious pluralism and freedom. Uganda is ethically and religiously diverse. President Museveni's leadership has promoted religious pluralism and freedom while seeking to shape the ethical landscape. Uganda's constitution guarantees religious freedom, and leaders have engaged in interfaith dialogue to foster religious harmony. This demonstrates a recognition of diverse religious perspectives. 4. Challenges in balancing tradition and modernity. The dialectics of change include the challenge of balancing traditional cultural values with modernity. Uganda's urbanization and globalization have brought new cultural influences. The coexistence of traditional practices and modern lifestyles can be observed in urban centers like Kampala. Central festivals, cultural festivals, and events celebrate both traditional and modernity. 5. Educational reforms and value-based education. Leadership has introduced value-based education in the curriculum to instill specific values in the youth. The inclusion of value-based education in schools can be seen as an effort to shape ethical values from a young age. 6. Recognition of cultural diversity. While promoting specific values, leadership must recognize the rich cultural diversity within Uganda. Uganda's cultural festivals, such as the Bayimba International Festival of Arts, celebrate the country's cultural diversity and artistic expression. 7. Gender and women empowerment. Leadership has addressed gender-related ethical issues by promoting women's empowerment and gender equality. Initiatives like the National Gender Policy and efforts to increase women's representation in leadership roles reflects progress in this regard. President Museveni's leadership in shaping values and identity in Uganda illustrates the complexity of navigating the dialectics of change. The empirical examples given demonstrate efforts to promote specific values and cultural identity while recognizing and celebrating the country's diversity. Balancing these elements is crucial in shaping Uganda's ethical landscape and cultural identity in a dynamic and diverse society. In each of these issues, The dialectics of change highlight the dynamic nature of leadership and transformation. President Museveni's leadership in Uganda has involved a constant negotiation between progress and resistance, ideas and realities. It underscores that leadership is not a linear path but a complex interplay of forces and factors. Moreover, empirical examples provide evidence of how these dialectical tensions have played out in Uganda's context. They showcase the successes and challenges of President Museveni's leadership in managing these dynamics while striving for the transformation and progress of the nation. The ceaseless interplay of these forces continue to shape Uganda's trajectory, making it a compelling case study in the pursuit of change and leadership in complex societal landscapes. Echoes of leadership. Museveni's philosophical odyssey, resilience, transformation, and the unending quest for a brighter tomorrow. In the crucible of Uganda's history, Museveni emerges as a steward of change, wielding the philosophical forces of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical dispensation. His leadership invites us to ponder the depth of transformation and the values in the tapestry of a nation's evolution. In the end, the discourse transcends Uganda's borders, beckoning us to question the essence of leadership itself and the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow. A yearning that echoes in the footsteps of leaders who strive to orchestrate fundamental change. In the crucible of Uganda's rich and diverse history, President Yoweri Museveni emerges as a steadfast steward of change, harnessing the philosophical forces of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical dispensation to navigate the complex terrain of transformation, resilience, and values in the vibrant tapestry of our nation's evolution. President Museveni's leadership journey, spanning several decades, embodies a profound commitment to the betterment of Uganda's political, economic, and social landscape. Through the lens of Yowerinomics, he has sought to redefine the very essence of governance and prosperity, challenging the status quo and ushering in market-oriented reforms, infrastructure development, and economic growth. This path, however, has not been without its challenges, with persistent issues such as income inequality and unemployment underscoring the dialectics of change inherent in economic transformation. Tibuhaburwarism, a concept of resilience and determination, resonates deeply with Uganda's history. In the face of adversity, President Museveni's leadership has played unwavering determination, exemplified by its effort to bring an end to the Lord's Resistance Army insurgents and to promote post-conflict recovery. These experiences highlight the ceaseless interplay of progress and setbacks, mirroring the complexities of leadership amid its challenges. Museveninomical dispensation underscores the influence of leadership on cultural values, ethics, and the national identity. President Museveni's emphasis on patriotism, culture preservation, and value-based education reflects his value for shaping Uganda's culture and ethical landscape. Yet this vision operates within the dialectics of diversity and pluralism, where the recognition of diverse culture and ethical perspectives is crucial. Beyond Uganda's borders, the discourse transcends, inviting reflection on the essence of leadership itself. It calls us to contemplate the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow, a yearning that reverberates not only in Uganda but also in the global community. Leaders like President Museveni, who strive to orchestrate fundamental change, become beacons of hope and agents of transformation in a world grappling with complex challenges. In conclusion, Uganda's journey under President Museveni's leadership serves as a compelling narrative of transformation, resilience, and the shaping of values in the midst of change. It challenges us to ponder the essence of leadership and the universal aspirations for a brighter future, a yearning that unites us all as we navigate the intricate tapestry of human progress. Key highlights of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's regime in Uganda. 1. 1986. Seizing power. Museveni assumed the presidency after a successful liberation. His government inherited a war-torn country with significant security challenges. 1986 to 1990s. Stabilizing the country. Museveni's early years were marked by efforts to restore stability. He implemented a policy of demobilization and disarmament and began to rebuild Uganda's institutions. 1990s. Economic reform. In the 1990s, Museveni introduced economic liberation policies, including privatization and market-oriented reforms, which led to significant economic growth. 2000s. Health and education. Museveni's government in the 2000s focused on improving healthcare and educational systems. Uganda made progress in reducing HIV/AIDS prevalence and increasing access to primary education. Northern Uganda conflict that reigned from the 1980s to the 2000s. During the 1980s to the 2000s, the government faced a prolonged conflict with the Lord's Resistance Army, the LRA, in northern Uganda, which posed significant challenges to security and humanitarian efforts. Still in the 2000s, peace negotiation efforts to end the conflict, including the amnesty programs for the LRA fighters, which eventually led to a decline in violence. Infrastructure development between the 2000s to the 2010. The government invested heavily in infrastructure projects, including roads and energy, to support economic growth and development during the period of 2000 to 2010. Controversial elections. Museveni's presidency faced criticism for alleged electoral irregularities and limitations on political freedoms during elections. Social services and poverty reduction. In the 2010s, poverty reduction and social services remained a priority, with the government implementing programs like the Universal Primary Education and Universal Secondary Education. Constitutional amendments. Still in the 2010s, controversial constitutional amendments such as the removal of presidential age limits sparked debate and opposition, and a rise in opposition. The COVID-19 response in the 2020s. Museveni's government faced a challenge of managing the COVID-19 pandemic, implementing measures that had not been seen before to contain the virus's spread. Land conflicts. Throughout the period of 2000 to 2020s, land disputes, often related to land grabbers and an inadequate land tenure system, remained a contentious issue in Uganda, leading to social unrest. Regional involvement. Museveni's government has played an active role in regional conflict, such as participating in peacekeeping missions and supporting rebel groups in neighboring countries, which brought both criticism and praise during the 1990s to the 2020s. Corruption concerns. Throughout the regime of President Museveni, corruption has been a persistent problem in Uganda, with allegations of graft and embezzlement at various levels of government, leading to calls for anti-corruption measures. Human rights issues. Museveni's president has also faced allegations of human rights abuses, including crackdowns on opposition and restrictions on freedom of press and assembly. Youth unemployment. High youth unemployment rates and limited economic opportunities for young people have been ongoing challenges in Museveni's Uganda. Environmental conservation. Efforts to protect Uganda's natural resources and biodiversity were initiated under Museveni's government, with a focus on conservation and sustainable development. International relations. Uganda maintained diplomatic relations with various countries and organizations, and Museveni played a role in regional and international diplomacy. It is important to note that opinions about Museveni's presidency vary widely, with supporters highlighting economic growth and stability, while critics raise concerns about political freedoms and governance issues. Uganda's complex and diverse challenges have shaped the trajectory of his leadership over the years. Empirical data to support some of the successes during Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's presidency in Uganda. 1. Economic growth. Uganda's GDP growth has been relatively strong during Museveni's tenure. For example, in the 1990s and the 2000s, the country experienced annual GDP growth rates of around 5% to 10%. 2. Education and literacy. The introduction of universal primary education, known as UPE, in the late 1990s significantly increased primary school enrollment rates. According to UNESCO, Uganda's net enrollment rate in primary education increased from 53% in 1996 to 90% in the early 2000s. 3. Healthcare improvements. Uganda made progress in healthcare, including reducing the HIV/AIDS prevalence. UNAIDS reported a decline in HIV prevalence from 15% in the early 1990s to 6.2% by 2016. Infrastructure development. Infrastructure projects such as the construction and rehabilitation of roads has improved transportation and connectivity within the country. This has thus facilitated trade and economic growth. 5. Peace efforts. While the conflict with the Lord's Resistance Army, known as the LRA in northern Uganda, was protracted, efforts to negotiate and grant amnesty to LRA fighters contributed to a decline in violence and an eventual ceasefire. 6. COVID-19 response. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Uganda implemented measures such as lockdowns and mass testings. As of my knowledge cutoff in January 2022, Uganda had reportedly relatively low COVID-19 cases compared to some neighboring countries. 7. Reduction in poverty rates. According to the World Bank, Uganda's poverty rate declined significantly over the years. For instance, between 2006 and 2017, a 10-year period, the national poverty rate decreased from 31.1% to 21.4%. 8. Increase in life expectancy. Life expectancy in Uganda has shown improvement. In 1990, the average life expectancy was around 47 years of a Ugandan, and by 2019, it had increased to approximately 63 years according to the World Bank. 9. Improved access to clean water and sanitization. Efforts to improve access to clean water and sanitization facilities have had a positive impact. The percentage of the population with access to clean water sources increased from 43% in 1990 to 73% in 2019 as per World Bank data. 10. Foreign direct investment. Uganda has attracted foreign direct investment in various sectors, including energy, agriculture, and telecommunication. FDI inflows have contributed to economic growth and job creation. 11. Gender equality progress. Uganda has made strides in promoting gender equality. The Gender Inequality Index showed a decreased trend, indicating progress in reducing gender disparities in various aspects of life. 12. Improved infrastructure in energy sector. Investment in the energy sector led to increased access to electricity. Data from the World Bank shows that the percentage of the population with access to electricity in Uganda increased from about 5% in 2000 to 20% in 2019. 13. Agriculture productivity. Uganda's agriculture sector has shown growth and diversification. For example, coffee production increased significantly, with Uganda becoming one of Africa's leading coffee exporters. 14. Reduction in maternal and child mortality. Efforts to improve healthcare contributed to a decline in maternal and child mortality rates. The maternal mortality ratio per 100,000 live births decreased from 687 in 1990 to 375 in 2016, according to UN data. 15. Increased internet access. Internet penetration has expanded, with an increasing number of Ugandans gaining access to the internet and mobile communication services, fostering connectivity and digital opportunities. 16. Tourism growth. Uganda's tourism industry has seen growth, with an increase in tourist arrivals to destinations like national parks, contributing to revenue generation and employment. 17. Investment in the educational sector. Investment in education infrastructure, including the construction of schools and training institutions, has expanded access to education and improved educational outcomes. 18. Steady population growth. Uganda's population has grown steadily over the years, indicating overall stability and a potential labor force for economic development. Foreign direct investment inflows have shown growth over the years, indicating increased investor confidence. Data from the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development reported increasing foreign direct investments inflows, contributing to economic development in Uganda. Rural electrification. Efforts to expand access to electricity have benefited rural areas. According to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, the percentage of rural households with access to electricity increased from 1% in 1991 to 10% in 2018. Improvement in business environment. Uganda has implemented reforms to improve its business environment, as reflected in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business rankings, where the country has seen improvements in areas like starting a business and access to credit. Increase in export diversification. Uganda's export base has diversified beyond traditional products like coffee and tea. Non-traditional exports, including horticulture products and manufactured goods, have grown, contributing to trade expansion. Investment in transportation infrastructure. Investment in the transportation infrastructure, such as road construction and rehabilitation, have improved access to markets and reduced transportation costs for businesses. Access to financial services. The percentage of Ugandan adults with access to formal financial services, such as banking and microfinance, has increased steadily, promoting financial inclusion and economic stability. Child immunization rates. Uganda has made progress in child health, with higher rates of child immunization coverage. UNICEF data indicates that immunization rates for diseases like measles have improved. These data points provide evidence of economic, social and infrastructure advancement during Museveni's tenure as president. However, it is essential to acknowledge that Uganda also faces ongoing challenges related to governance, political freedoms, and social inequalities, which are subjects of debate and discussion. Comparatively analyzing Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's success with past Ugandan leaders since independence. This requires considering the unique historical and political context of each era. Let's examine the leadership of each past Ugandan leader and how Museveni's presidency compares, supported by empirical data where available. The first Ugandan president, Sir Edward Muteesa II, President of Uganda from 1963 to 1966. Muteesa II served as the first president of Uganda after independence. His presidency was short-lived and marked by political turmoil, leading to his removal by his Prime Minister Obote. Compared to Muteesa II, Museveni's tenure has been characterized by relative political stability and a more extended period in office. Milton Obote from 1966 to 1971. Obote's first presidency was marred by political repression and the suspension of the constitution, which contributed to instability and conflict. Museveni's presidency has seen longer periods of stability and economic growth in comparison to Obote's first term. Idi Amin from 1971 to 1979. Idi Amin's regime was notorious for human rights abuses, political repression, and economic mismanagement leading to widespread suffering. Museveni's leadership has been characterized by efforts to stabilize the country, rebuild institutions, and improve economic conditions, which stand in contrast to Amin's chaotic rule. Obote's second presidency from 1980 to 1985. Obote's second term was marked by conflict, including the Ugandan Bush War, which Museveni led as a rebel group. Museveni's eventual victory in the Bush War allowed for a new era of governance and relative stability in Uganda. Tito Okello from 1985 to 1986. Tito Okello's brief presidency followed the overthrow of Obote's second term and was characterized by political instability and conflict. Museveni's leadership brought an end to this period of instability through the establishment of a stable government. Paul Mwanga, 1985. Paul Mwanga briefly served as president of Uganda after the overthrow of Obote's second term, but faced a challenging political environment. Museveni's leadership, which followed Mwanga's brief tenure, brought greater stability and governance continuity. Comparatively, Museveni's presidency has outshined many past Ugandan leaders in terms of achieving a more extended period of relative stability, economic growth, and improved social indicators. Empirical data supports advancement in various sectors during Museveni's tenure. However, it is essential to recognize that Museveni's leadership has faced criticism and challenges related to political freedoms, governance issues, and corruption, which remain subjects of debate in Uganda. The comparative analysis illustrates that despite these challenges, Museveni's regime has been marked by a longer period of relative stability and development compared to some of Uganda's past leaderships. Perspectives and Paradoxes: the philosophical odyssey of ranking leadership in a complex world. Determining the best leaders' actions and ranking them on a scale of 1 to 10 is subjective and depends on various factors and perspectives. However, I can highlight some of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's fundamental successes during his presidency in Uganda and provide a general ranking based on his significance in the context of Uganda's historical challenges and political opportunities. Keep in mind that these rankings are subjective and represent a simplified assessment. On stability and conflict resolution, ranking 9 out of 10. Museveni's ability to stabilize Uganda after years of conflict and civil unrest is one of his most significant achievements. This contributed to an environment where development could take place. On economic growth, ranking 8 out of 10. Under Museveni's leadership, Uganda experienced consistent economic growth, lifting many out of poverty and contributing to improved living standards. However, challenges such as income inequality persist. On education and healthcare, ranking 8 out of 10. Initiatives like universal primary education and improvements in healthcare has expanded access to essential services. While progress has been made, challenges in quality and accessibility still remain. Infrastructure development, ranking 8 out of 10. Investment in infrastructure, including roads and energy, has improved connectivity and facilitated economic growth. This has been crucial for the country's development. On regional diplomacy, ranking 8 out of 10. Museveni's involvement in regional diplomacy and peacekeeping efforts has contributed to regional stability, positioning Uganda as a key player in East African politics. On HIV/AIDS response, ranking 9 out of 10. Uganda's efforts in addressing the HIV/AIDS epidemic and reducing prevalence rates has been commendable and has saved countless lives. On poverty reduction, ranking 8 out of 10. While poverty reduction efforts have been substantial, challenges remain in addressing income inequality and ensuring sustainable livelihoods for all citizens. On agriculture productivity, ranking 8 out of 10. The focus on agriculture development has led to increased productivity and diversification. However, more can be done to enhance food security and rural development. On access to clean water and sanitization, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to improve access to clean water and sanitization have seen progress, but disparities in rural areas still persist. On political stability, ranking 9 out of 10. Maintaining relative political stability has been a significant achievement, but challenges related to political freedoms and governance issues remain areas of concern. On foreign direct investment, ranking 8 out of 10. Museveni's ability to attract foreign direct investment in various sectors has been important for economic growth and job creation. However, ensuring that these investments benefit all segments of society remain a challenge. On gender equality and women's empowerment, ranking 9 out of 10. Efforts to promote gender equality have seen progress with increased representation of women in various sectors. However, gender disparities persist in certain areas such as access to education and employment opportunities. On investment in energy infrastructure, ranking 8 out of 10. Investment in the energy sector has expanded access to electricity, which is crucial for industrialization and economic development. On rural development, ranking 7 out of 10. Rural development initiatives have improved living conditions in rural areas, but challenges in terms of infrastructure, access to services, and poverty reduction remain persistent. On investment in education infrastructure, ranking 9 out of 10. Investment in education infrastructure, including schools and training institutions, has expanded access to education, improving literacy rates and human capital development. On access to financial services, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to promote financial inclusion by increasing access to formal financial services have contributed to economic stability and growth. On environmental conservation, ranking 8 out of 10. Museveni's focus on environmental conservation and sustainability development has been important for preserving Uganda's natural resources and biodiversity. On youth empowerment and employment, ranking 7 out of 10. Initiatives aimed at addressing youth unemployment and providing opportunities for young people have shown progress, but more can be done to harness the potential of Uganda's youthful population. On regional integration, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's active participation in regional integration initiatives such as the East African Community and the African Union has contributed to economic cooperation and regional stability. On reduction in maternal and child mortality, ranking 9 out of 10. Efforts to improve healthcare services have led to a reduction in maternal and child mortality rates. While progress have been made, challenges in the healthcare infrastructure and access to quality care persists. On promotion of science and technology, ranking 9 out of 10. Initiatives to promote science, technology, and innovation have the potential to drive economic diversification and knowledge-based industries, although more investment and development are needed. On culture preservation and tourism, ranking 9 out of 10. Efforts to preserve Uganda's rich cultural heritage and promote tourism have the potential to boost the country's culture and economic identity. On diaspora engagement, ranking 10 out of 10. Engaging the Ugandan diaspora has the potential to harness resources, skills, and investments from abroad for the country's development. On peacekeeping contributions, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's participation in international peacekeeping missions has bolstered its role on the global stage and contributed to regional stability. On humanitarian assistance, ranking 8 out of 10. Uganda's efforts to provide humanitarian assistance and refuge to displaced populations from neighboring countries have earned international recognition. On investment in agriculture research and development, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to invest in agriculture research and development have the potential to enhance crop productivity and food security for the country. On social safety nets, ranking 8 out of 10. The introduction of social safety nets and programs aimed at vulnerable populations has provided some level of support to those in need. On entrepreneurship and private sector growth, ranking 8 out of 10. Initiatives to promote entrepreneurship and foster public sector growth have the potential to drive economic diversification and job creation. On youth empowerment in agriculture, ranking 7 out of 10. Programs aimed at engaging young people in agriculture and agribusiness can help address youth unemployment and contribute to food security. On investment in information and communication technology, ranking 10 out of 10. Investments in information and communication technology infrastructure have the potential to drive digital innovation and connectivity. On efforts to combat corruption, 6 out of 10. Although Uganda continues to face challenges related to corruption, efforts to combat corruption have been initiated, albeit with mixed results. On investment in industrialization, ranking 9 out of 10. Initiatives to promote industrialization and value addition to Uganda's natural resources can contribute to economic diversification. On promotion of accessible legal services, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to promote accessible legal services and justice can contribute to a more equitable society. On inclusivity and cultural integration, ranking 9 out of 10. Museveni's emphasis, inclusivity and cultural integration has the potential to foster national unity and cohesion. On promotion of regional trade, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's effort to promote regional trade within East African Community and the common markets of Eastern and Southern Africa have expanded export opportunities and economic integration. On investment in renewable energy, 7 out of 10. Initiatives to invest in renewable energy sources such as hydroelectric power have contributed to energy security and environmental sustainability. On promotion of cultural heritage, ranking 9 out of 10. Museveni's focus on preserving and promoting Uganda's cultural heritage has the potential to strengthen national identity and tourism. On peaceful transition of power, ranking 8 out of 10. Uganda has witnessed peaceful transitions of power through multiple elections, demonstrating a commitment to democratic processes and political stability. On investment in wildlife conservation, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to protect Uganda's rich biodiversity and national parks have contributed to tourism and environmental conservation. On promotion of entrepreneurial skills, ranking 7 out of 10. Initiatives to promote entrepreneurial skills and vocational training can help address unemployment and equip young people with practical skills. On promotion of multilingual education, ranking 7 out of 10. Efforts to promote multilingual education can help preserve cultural diversity and promote linguistic inclusivity. On participation in international peacekeeping missions, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's active participation in international peacekeeping missions has contributed to global peace and security while enhancing its diplomatic standing. On investment in higher education, ranking 10 out of 10. Museveni's government has expanded access to higher education institutions, fostering human capital development and research opportunities. On promotion of national unity, ranking 10 out of 10. Efforts to promote national unity and reconciliation following periods of conflict have contributed to a more cohesive and stable society. On efforts in disease control, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's response to diseases such as Ebola and other pandemics has been effective in containing the spread and minimizing the impact on public health. On promotion of agricultural export, ranking 7 out of 10. Initiatives to promote agriculture export commodities like coffee, tea, and horticulture products have boosted foreign exchange earnings. On strengthening of the judiciary, ranking 8 out of 10. Investment in the judicial system have aimed to enhance the rule of law and access to justice, though challenges in the judicial sectors persist. On investment in youth empowerment centers, ranking 7 out of 10. Establishment of youth empowerment centers has provided skill training and support for youth entrepreneurship and job creation. On promotion of cultural tourism, ranking 9 out of 10. Efforts to promote cultural tourism, including heritage sites and culture festivals, have the potential to bolster tourism revenue. On efforts to improve internet connectivity, ranking 10 out of 10. Investments in expanding internet connectivity in urban and rural areas have facilitated digital access and economic opportunities. On international infrastructure projects, ranking 8 out of 10. Investment in large-scale infrastructure projects such as construction of the Entebbe Expressway and the Karuma Dam has improved transportation and energy infrastructure. On promotion of civic education, ranking 8 out of 10. Efforts to promote civic education and awareness have contributed to a more informed citizenry and political participation. On efforts in disaster management, ranking 10 out of 10. Museveni's government has responded to natural disasters such as floods and landslides with efforts to mitigate their impact and provide relief to affected communities. On enhanced access to credit, ranking 8 out of 10. Initiatives to promote access to credit for small and medium-sized enterprises have supported entrepreneurship and economic growth. On promotion of renewable energy, ranking 7 out of 10. Investment in renewable energy sources like solar power and wind energy have contributed to a more sustainable energy mix. On management of refugee crises, ranking 10 out of 10. Uganda's response to hosting a large number of refugees from neighboring countries has been commendable, providing humanitarian assistance and settlement support. On promotion of entrepreneurial ecosystem, ranking 9 out of 10. Efforts to create a conducive environment for entrepreneurship and innovation have encouraged business startups and technological advancements. On strengthening of national defense, ranking 10 out of 10. Museveni's leadership has focused on strengthening the country's national defense and security, contributing to stability. On diversification of export markets, ranking 7 out of 10. Uganda's efforts to diversify export markets beyond traditional partners have reduced trade dependence on a single country. On investment in public health infrastructure, ranking 9 out of 10. Investments in healthcare infrastructure have improved the capacity to respond to public health emergencies and provide medical services. These successes highlight various aspects of Uganda's development and governance under Museveni's leadership. As always, it is important to recognize the rankings provided as just subjective and simplified, and the assessment of these achievements can vary based on different perspectives and criteria. Uganda's journey under Museveni has seen both progress and ongoing challenges in various sectors. The Dilemma of Leadership, a philosophical examination of imperfections, evolution, and potential remedies. Yoweri Museveni's leadership in Uganda has faced several shortcomings, and while some of these issues have improved over time, they continue to be subject of concern. Here are some of his shortcomings, supported by empirical data, along with potential ways they could have been addressed. On political freedoms and human rights, the shortcomings of Museveni's government. Museveni's government has faced criticism for restrictions on political freedoms, including limitations on opposition activities and media censorship. Data reports from organizations like Freedom House have noted declines in political and civil liberties in Uganda. To address this issue, Museveni's government could have fostered a more inclusive and competitive political environment, allowing for a vibrant opposition and independent media. This could involve revising laws and regulations that restrict political pluralism and freedom of expression. On corruption. Shortcomings. Corruption remains a concern in Uganda, with reports of embezzlement and misappropriation of public funds ever rampant. Data on Uganda's ranking on Transparency International's Corruption Perspective Index has been relatively low, indicating high levels of perceived corruption. Addressing this shortcoming, Museveni's administration could have taken stronger measures to combat corruption, such as enforcing anti-corruption laws more rigorously, enhancing transparency in government procurement, and strengthening oversight institutions. On income inequality. Despite overall economic growth, income inequality has persisted in Uganda, with disparities between the urban and rural populations. Data by the Gini coefficient, a measure of income inequality, has remained relatively high in Uganda. To address this shortcoming, policies aimed at reducing income inequality could have been implemented, including targeting social programs, land reforms, and investments in rural development to ensure that the benefits of the economic growth are more equitably distributed. On land disputes and conflicts. Land disputes and conflicts, particularly in rural areas, have been a persistent challenge leading to social tensions. This is supported by land-related conflicts and displacements that have been documented in various regions of Uganda. To address this shortcoming, a need to address the land tenure issues through comprehensive land reforms, community-based conflict resolution mechanisms, and land tilling programs could have helped mitigate these disputes. On electoral irregularities and democratic processes. Elections in Uganda have faced allegations of irregularities and lack a level playing field for opposition candidates. International observers and the civil society organizations have raised concern about the electoral processes. Addressing this shortcoming would be by implementing electoral reforms to ensure transparency, fairness, and accountability in the electoral process. This could involve strengthening the independence of the Electoral Commission and enhancing electoral laws. On youth empowerment. Despite efforts to address the youth unemployment, it remains a significant challenge in Uganda. Youth unemployment rates in Uganda have remained relatively high. Addressing this shortcoming would be by focusing on comprehensive youth employment programs. Vocational training and entrepreneurship support could have been more effective in tackling this issue. On quality education. While there has been an expansion of education access, concerns about the quality of education persist, including issues with teacher absenteeism and inadequate infrastructure. Reports have highlighted challenges in the educational sector, including low literacy rates in some areas. To address this shortcoming, investing in teacher training, improving school infrastructure, and revising the curriculum to align with modern skills and job market demands would have improved the quality of education. On healthcare access in rural areas. While there have been improvements in healthcare infrastructure and access, rural areas still face challenges in accessing quality healthcare services. Disparities in healthcare access and outcomes between urban and rural areas have been documented. To address this, expanding healthcare facilities and services in underserved rural areas and addressing healthcare workforce distribution could have improved access. On environmental conservation and natural resource management. Despite efforts in environmental conservation, challenges related to deforestation, land degradation, and wildlife poaching persist. Reports have highlighted ongoing environmental degradation in certain areas. To address this shortcoming, strengthening environmental protection measures, community-based conservation initiatives, and sustainable land use planning could have addressed these challenges. On infrastructure maintenance. While there has been investment in infrastructure development, the maintenance of existing infrastructure has sometimes been inadequate, leading to deterioration. Reports of deteriorating roads and public infrastructure have been noted. Addressing this shortcoming would have been by allocating sufficient resources for ongoing infrastructure maintenance and enhancing effective management of existing assets to mitigate this issue. On dependence on donor aid. Uganda has had a shortcoming of being dependent on donor aid for a significant portion of its budget, which can limit the country's fiscal sovereignty. Uganda's reliance on external funding sources has been well documented. Addressing this shortcoming would have been by focusing on economic diversification and revenue generation strategies to reduce dependence on donor aid and enhance fiscal stability. On ethnic and regional tensions. Ethnic and regional tensions have at times flared up in Uganda, contributing to social divisions and conflicts. Instances of ethnic and regional tension have been documented, including during elections. Addressing this shortcoming would be by encouraging inclusive governance that takes into account the interests of diverse ethnic and regional groups, as well as promoting dialogue and reconciliation efforts would have mitigated these tensions. Addressing the shortcoming, encouraging inclusive governance that takes into account the interests of diverse ethnic and regional groups, as well as promoting dialogue and reconciliation efforts, could have mitigated these tensions. On access to clean water and sanitization. Despite improvements, access to clean water and sanitation services in some rural areas remains inadequate. To address this shortcoming would have been by expanding investment in water infrastructure and sanitation facilities in underserved areas and promoting community-based water management would have improved access. On urbanization challenges. Rapid urbanization has posed challenges such as overcrowding, inadequate housing, and strains on urban services and infrastructure. Urbanization trends in Uganda have led to urban planning and infrastructure challenges. To address this shortcoming, implementing effective urban planning, affordable housing programs, and sustainable urban development strategies would have mitigated these challenges. On land use planning and management. Inefficient land use planning and management have led to issues like land grabbing, land conflicts, and improper land utilization. Land-related disputes and conflicts have been reported in various parts of Uganda. To address this shortcoming would have been by strengthening the land tenure systems and improving land governance and enhancing land use planning could have addressed these issues. On media freedom and press freedom. Concerns about media freedom and press freedom have rose due to incidents of censorship and harassment of journalists. Reports from press freedom organizations have highlighted challenges faced by the media in Uganda. To address this shortcoming, protecting and promoting media freedom, enhancing the independence of the media regulatory bodies, and facilitating a diverse and pluralistic media landscape would have improved press freedom. On political patronage. Political patronage and a highly centralized system of governance have sometimes led to issues of favoritism and the concentration of power. Critics have pointed to instances of political patronage within Uganda's political system. Promoting political reforms that decentralize power, strengthen checks and balances, and enhance transparency in government appointments would have mitigated these issues. On quality of public services. While there have been improvements in public service delivery, challenges related to the quality of services, including healthcare and education, remain. Reports have highlighted issues such as teacher absenteeism and healthcare infrastructure gaps. To address this shortcoming would have been by investing in training and capacity building for public service providers, enhancing monitoring tools and evaluation mechanisms, in addition to engaging communities in service delivery oversight. This would have improved the quality of public services. On food security and agriculture challenges. Despite progress in the agricultural productivity, Uganda still faces challenges related to food security, post-harvest losses, and climate change impacts. Instances of food shortages and vulnerability to climate-related events have been reported. To address this shortcoming would have been by implementing climate-resilient agricultural practices, improving storage and value addition in agriculture. Also, enhancing farmer support programs could have addressed these issues. On gender inequality, gender disparities in education, employment, and political representation persist in Uganda. Gender gaps in various sectors and women's underrepresentation in decision-making roles have been documented. Addressing this shortcoming would have been by implementing policies and programs that promote gender equality, including gender-responsive budgeting, women's economic empowerment, and increasing women's participation in politics. On protection of minority rights. The protection of minority rights, including those of marginalized ethnic and religious groups, has been a concern. Data reports have highlighted instances of discrimination and persecution against minority groups. Addressing this shortcoming would have been by strengthening the legal protections for minority rights, promoting intercultural dialogue, and combating discrimination would have enhanced the protection of minority rights. Addressing these additional shortcomings would have required a multifaceted approach involving legal reforms, policy interventions, and community engagement. While no leadership is without its challenges, these areas represent opportunities for future leaders in Uganda to work towards achieving more inclusive and equitable development. Behind the Curtain, a philosophical quest into the deep state phenomenon and found implications on governance in Uganda. In the journey of leadership and the ceaseless march of human societies, the enigma of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's Uganda unveils a profound philosophical tableau. At the heart of our contemplative voyage, encapsulated by the enigmatic title Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change lies a philosophical odyssey that transcends the boundaries of time, culture, and place. As we stand at the crossroads of transformation, the very essence of change beckons us. Museveni's Uganda offers a living testament to the human pursuit of metamorphosis, a collective yearning etched in the annals of history. Here, we uncover a profound yearning for a better tomorrow, a yearning that knows no geographical confines but is intrinsically woven in the human spirit. Yowerinomics emerges not as a mere economic doctrine, but a philosophical paradigm that challenges the boundaries of governance and prosperity. It compels us to re-evaluate the dynamics of power and participation, daring us to reimagine socio-economic empowerment as an intricate dance between the state and its citizens. In Tibuhaburwarism, we find the embodiment of resilience, a beacon of unwavering determination that transcends adversity. It is a reminder that within each individual and society, the tenacious human spirit endures, forging ahead despite the tempestuous storms that may arise. Museveninomical dispensation casts a spotlight on the profound interplay between leadership and cultural evolution, a testament to the transformative power of governance. It prompts us to contemplate how leaders sculpt the values and identities of nations, molding not just policies but the very ethos of societies. Yet amidst these reflections, we encounter the dialectics of change, the perpetual ebb and flow of ideas and realities. In Museveni's Uganda, we witness the negotiation of progress and the constraints of circumstance. It is a reminder that the path of transformation is not linear but a complex interplay of forces. As we navigate the labyrinth of Museveni's leadership and the philosophical dimensions it unveils, we are invited to transcend Uganda's borders. We are called to question not just leadership but the very essence of human aspiration, the unceasing yearning for a brighter, more equitable future. In this profound journey, we find that the pursuit of transformative leadership is a universal melody that resonates across time and space, a melody that finds its echo in the hearts of those who dare to embark on the noble quest of fundamental change. In the philosophical exploration encapsulated by the enigmatic title Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change, we embark on a profound journey into the intricate landscape of leadership in Uganda. This philosophical odyssey transcends temporal culture and geographical boundaries, inviting us to reflect on the ceaseless march of human societies. Museveni's Uganda becomes a symbol of the human pursuit of metamorphosis. As we navigate this terrain of leadership in Museveni's Uganda, we are called to transcend national boundaries. We are urged to question not only leadership but also the fundamental essence of human aspiration, the unrelenting desire for a brighter, more equitable future. The concept of the deep state, the term deep state, is often used to refer to a hypothetical or alleged secretive network of individuals or groups within a government or other influential institutions such as the military, intelligence agencies, or bureaucracy that are believed to be working in secret to influence government policy and decision-making. These individuals or groups are often thought to operate outside the public's view and control, and their actions may be seen as undermining the official elected government. The concept of the deep state is often associated with conspiracy theories and is sometimes used to explain perceived inconsistencies or hidden agendas within government actions. It has been a topic of debate and discussion in various countries and contexts, but it's important to note that the existence of a deep state is a highly controversial and contested idea, and there is often limited concrete evidence to support such claims. In some cases, the term deep state is used to describe a real phenomenon, such as entrenched bureaucracy or powerful interest groups that can influence government decisions. However, it's crucial to approach discussions of the deep state with a critical and evidence-based perspective, as unsustained claims about its existence can contribute to misinformation and conspiracy theories. First, power dynamics and governance. Museveni's long tenure in power, which has spanned several decades, raises questions about the dynamics of power within the Ugandan government. Some critics may argue that over time, there has been an accumulation of power within certain circles or institutions, possibly leading to allegations of a deep state that wields influence behind the scenes. This could be seen as an attempt to explain the enduring nature of his rule. 2. Economic and political interests. Yowerinomics challenges conventional notions of governance and prosperity. Critics may argue that the concentration of economic power and interests in certain sectors or groups could be indicative of a hidden network or deep state that benefits from Museveni's policies. 3. Leadership and cultural evolution. This touches upon the transformative power of leadership in shaping the values and identities of nations. In the context of a deep state, one may question whether there are shadowy figures, organizations working to influence and control the narrative and direction of Ugandan society, even beyond the formal structures of government. 4. Transformative ambitions and governance. Museveni's Uganda is depicted as a place where transformation is a fundamental theme, going beyond mere socio-economic changes. The concept of the deep state, if applied, could be seen as an attempt to explain how certain hidden or entrenched elements within the government or institutions may play a role in either facilitating or obstructing transformation. This could involve covert actions or influence behind the scenes, impacting the trajectory of the country. 5. Yowerinomics and empowerment. Yowerinomics is presented as a guiding philosophy that challenges traditional views of governance and prosperity. Within the context of the deep state, one may speculate that certain groups or individuals may seek to control economic resources or policy decisions for their own benefit, potentially hindering the broader empowerment of society. This could lead to questions about who truly benefits from economic policies and whether there are hidden agendas at play. 6. Resilience and overcoming adversity. Tibuhaburwarism is portrayed as a symbol of resilience, both on an individual and collective level. In the context of the deep state, one may consider how resilience and determination are influenced by or challenged by hidden forces that may manipulate or obstruct the pursuit of positive change. Finally, leadership and cultural influence. The passage highlights the interplay between leadership and cultural evolution. If there were allegations of a deep state, it would be argued that such hidden elements would have a significant role in shaping the values and identity of the nation. They would influence policies and decisions that impact the ethical and cultural landscapes, potentially serving their own interests or ideologies. In summary, within the provided discourse, the concept of the deep state can be contemplated as a possible explanation for hidden influences on governance, transformation, and cultural evolution in Museveni's Uganda. Unveiling the Veil. Navigating the Deep State and its complex influence on governance in Museveni's Uganda. The concept of the deep state highlights the presence of a secretive network within a government or influential institutions that operate behind the scenes to influence government policy and decision-making. In the context of Uganda, where the leadership of President Yoweri Museveni has faced both praise and criticism, it is essential to consider how the concept of the deep state may have played a role in promoting or depromoting good governance. On promotion of stability, the deep state concept can in some cases contribute to stability by providing continuity in governance, especially in regions with a history of political instability. In Uganda, where President Museveni has been in power for an extended period of time, the presence of a relatively stable deep state network may have helped maintain a sense of continuity and political order. On potential for influence. However, the presence of a secretive network can also raise concerns about undue influence on government policies and decisions. In Uganda, some critics argue that the deep state may have influenced governance in ways that are non-transparent or accountable, potentially undermining democratic principles and good governance. On impact on transparency. The lack of transparency associated with the deep state can hinder efforts to promote good governance, as it may result in decision-making processes that are not open to public scrutiny. Transparency is a key component of good governance, and the opacity often associated with the deep state can be seen as a hindrance. On ethical considerations. The presence of a deep state can also raise ethical questions about the concentration of power and the accountability of those who operate within it. The ethical dimensions of governance are essential for promoting good governance practices. On complex interplay, the text's mention of the dialectics of change underscores the complexity of governance in Uganda. The interplay between the official government and any potential deep state elements can be intricate, making it challenging to determine their precise roles and influence on governance. In summary, the concept of the deep state in Uganda introduces a complex and multifaceted dynamic that can both promote or demote good governance. It underscores the importance of transparency, accountability, and ethical considerations in governance practices. Internal reverberations. Pondering the essence of leadership, transformation, and humanity's perpetual pursuit of an illuminated horizon. In the case of Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change, we embark on a philosophical odyssey that transcends the boundaries of time, culture, and place. This narrative, like the resounding echoes of a timeless symphony, calls us to contemplate the essence of leadership, transformation, and the enduring human quest for a brighter tomorrow. As the pages of this book unfold, we encounter President Yoweri Museveni, a steward of change who wields the philosophical forces encapsulated within these concepts. His leadership journey invites us to explore the depth of transformation, resilience, and the shaping of values in the intricate fabric of Uganda's evolution. Yowerinomics, with its profound reframing of the governance-prosperity relationship, challenges us to reconsider the dynamics of empowerment. It beckons us to envision a world where leaders and citizens engage in an intricate dance of socio-economic progress. President Museveni's commitment to this vision is palpable as he navigates the dialectics of change, facing challenges such as income inequality and unemployment with unwavering determination. In the face of adversity, Tibuhaburwarism emerges as a guiding light, a beacon of resilience that transcends individual disposition of becoming a collective force. President Museveni's leadership embodies the tenacity to overcome obstacles, exemplified by his pursuit of peace amidst the Lord's Resistance Army insurgents in northern Uganda. This resilience mirrors the complex interplay of progress and setbacks, a testament of the profound intricacies of leadership. Museveninomical dispensation casts a spotlight on the transformative power of leadership in shaping cultural values, ethics, and the nation's identity. President Museveni's emphasis on patriotism and culture preservation reflects his vision for Uganda's culture and ethical landscape. Yet, his vision unfolds within the dialectics of diversity and pluralism, acknowledging the tapestry of culture and ethical perspectives that enrich the nation. Beyond the boundaries of Uganda, this book transcends, inviting us to question the very essence of leadership itself. It promotes us to recognize the timeless yearning for a better tomorrow, a yearning that resonates not only in the heart of Uganda, but echoes throughout the global community. Leaders like President Museveni, who navigate the intricate path of fundamental change, become beacons of hope and catalysts of transformation in a world marked with complexity and uncertainty. In the symphony of this philosophical exploration, we find the universal chords of human aspiration, leadership, and change. President Museveni's legacy, as portrayed in these pages, represents a profound chapter in the human narrative, a chapter that reminds us that the pursuit of fundamental change is a journey that transcends time, resonates across cultures, and carries within it the enduring spirit of progress. As we close the final chapter of this book, we are left with the resounding question: what more lies on the horizon of leadership, transformation, and the enduring quest for a brighter tomorrow? The answer, perhaps, resides in the heart of leaders and visionaries who dare to tread the uncharted waters of change, weaving the threads of history into a tapestry that tells the story of humanity's relentless pursuit of a better world. In the contemplation of Yoweri Museveni's leadership and the multifaceted landscape of Uganda's political journey, it is imperative that we acknowledge his role as a man. He is not exempt from imperfections and shortcomings. Yet, as we traverse the intricate terrain of Ugandan politics, we find moments that compel us to reflect on his undeniable dedication and contributions. As the resounding echoes of history reverberate, let us acknowledge that Museveni is a man. He's given his utmost efforts to navigate Uganda through the complexities of its unique political terrain. In the heart of our reflections, we find that he has striven to lead with dedication, confronting challenges that are formidable as the nation's diverse landscapes. In this philosophical voyage, it is paramount to remember that no individual, regardless of his position, is immune to errors and missteps. In recognizing this universal truth, we extend empathy to those who have felt betrayed or hurt by his governance. Their voices deserve to be heard and their experiences acknowledged. Nonetheless, in the intricate mosaic of Uganda's political tapestry, Museveni has excelled in many aspects, earning recognition that transcends personal biases. In the heart of those who have borne witness to his leadership, he stands tall in numerous areas. His commitment to stability and security, his contribution to regional cooperation, and his unwavering dedication to uplifting the nation have left undeniable marks. As we traverse this philosophical journey, let us reflect on the profound complexity of leadership and governance. Let us extend understanding to all sides, acknowledging that Museveni's legacy, like that of any leader, is a mosaic of triumphs and tribulations. It is a testament to the intricate dance between power, governance, and the human spirit. As a nation, we find ourselves at a crossroads where we can appreciate the dedication of a man who has led Uganda through turbulent times, using the word that captures the feeling of deep sorrow and sympathy for those who have been deeply hurt by his government is compassion. It signifies a heartfelt understanding of suffering and a desire to acknowledge pain. Regarding this book's purpose, it is not intended as an automatic validation of Museveni's reign, nor as a vindication of those who have opposed him. Instead, it is a deep reflection that embodies the principle of giving honor where it is due, as inspired by the scripture of Romans 13:7. Render therefore to all their dues, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom, fear to whom fear, and honor to whom honor. The book serves to acknowledge both the accomplishments and the challenges of Museveni's leadership, allowing for a nuanced and balanced perspective that reflects the diverse experiences and viewpoints of those affected by his government. Yowerinomics, Tibuhaburwarism, and Museveninomical Dispensation, Kaguta's astute mastery of fundamental Ugandanized change. Written by Isaac Christopher Lubogo. Thank you for listening.
Moto guli waka kabamba.